is that guy who like quit a long time ago and took like a private job.
I don't know who you're talking about.
She remembers way more about these people than you do.
I know, and I've never met a lot of them. I can't think of his name.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to a very special weekly episode of our Dungeons & Dragons 5th Edition online role-playing adventures. This will be our recap episode, covering our 65-session, 16-month-long adventure through the Storm King's Thunder. We will walk through our campaign, answer any questions our players may have, reveal all the maps, discuss the story and paths our players took, and put a final bow on the campaign. At the end, we will also reveal our next adventures. As always, we live stream our sessions Friday evening. You can keep up with our adventures on YouTube, as well as catch weekly recaps on RogueWatson.com. I'm Chris, and I was your Dungeon Master. No more. And I'm joined by our previously awesome player.
Will be forthcoming.
That's right.
And swiftly.
My time is coming
With
to an end.
extreme prejudice.
You've been judged.
Yeah, that's right. Eric, who played Kazan, the half-elf warlock paladin. Hello, Eric.
Hello.
Heather, who played Brysis, the tiefling sorcerer. Hello, Heather.
Hello.
Reese, who played Tim, the warforged cleric fighter. Hello, Reese.
Hi.
Rochelle, who played Corinne, the blue dragonborn sorcerer. Hello, Rochelle.
Hello.
And Raymond, who played Halfred, the halfling ranger. We use Roll20.net for our tabletop campaign and video chat, and I'm recording it all using Open Broadcaster software. Let's just jump right into it.
All right.
Yeah, I briefly considered doing a recap of last week's episode, but Raymond's not even here, and he's the only one who would care about that, so I'm not gonna.
We won the campaign.
Yeah, previously we've won, and there's no real point because there's nothing you guys need to remember. And
That dragon
and we'll
staff.
presumably cover it at the end of this session anyway. So
Presumably you will have some kind of epilogue for... I mean, I guess we kind of did that, didn't we? We went over...
I mean, we can talk about what you guys, any extra stuff you did. But we kind of went over what you guys are going off to do.
I think we did it just like right at the end.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll be ferrying you guys through all of the maps in chronological order. At any time, please just jump in with questions, comments. I'm kind of going to blow through it because there's a lot of maps in this campaign. We covered a lot of ground. At the end, I will ask you all for your favorite moments or scenarios from the campaign, so keep that in mind while we do this. Yeah, that's right. All right.
Also, at some point, whenever you want, I do have a bunch of fun stats that I've been keeping
Yes,
track of.
please. Yeah. We'll do that at the end. But yeah, let's definitely do some stat stuff. Uh-oh.
And for some entertaining reading after getting off of the stream, go to hashtag D&D on Twitter and find all the fun stuff that's out there. So there's been like some really hilarious like comic strips people have been making. I'm
Like
sitting
lately?
here reading them.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So you should check it out.
All right. Yeah, let's make sure you guys can all see everything okay. These maps are also, a lot of them are huge. So you're probably going to have to zoom out a bunch. You can all see that okay?
Nightstone.
Nightstone.
Get your nightstone.
So you guys all started off in Waterdeep, where you all sort of met and were heading to Nightstone for various reasons. I put that in quotes because the campaign starts in Nightstone regardless of anything else. You just have to get there. And the game immediately starts with a pseudo dungeon. As Nightstone is completely devoid of any people and is instead populated entirely by marauding goblins. You guys showed up. Oh yeah, there was wargs right there at the entryway, which I think those have been... Oh, so a couple of these maps, you guys revisited them, so the maps may have changed since you guys were there. I think you guys came back to Nightstone at some point in the future, so all the goblin carcasses are gone. The Zent carcasses are gone.
Good to know they do move the corpses.
That's right. At some point, they move those bodies. But yeah, you guys came in. You started off the whole campaign. I think your very first move was to conjure a dancing light show to entertain 2 wargs and kill them.
Simpler times.
That's right. And then you just kind of explored these northern buildings here. There was a temple and an inn that had all been destroyed by cloud giants dropping boulders. You fought a couple of goblins in each place. At the end, I remember you guys found Kella, who ended up being a Zentarum spy, but she was playing at being a civilian at the time. I don't think you guys actually bought that even then. I think you guys kind of figured out.
We rolled an insight check.
Yeah, like immediately. Yeah. Yeah. So after that, oh, that's right, because you guys, she almost immediately attacked you, didn't she?
Mm-hmm.
And you guys zapped her and tied her up and put her in the closet or something.
And then I would mask of any faces into her.
Yes, you did. Yeah. So the next session, you guys kept exploring, moving south, killing more goblins. You found down here in the south, you found a Tressum, which was a little winged cat. Which
totally forgot about.
You forgot about that. That was like you can give a player a pet, and the pet will be with you through the entire campaign. And I think Raymond took it, and we forgot about it.
And probably ate it.
Probably ate it at some point.
Mm-hmm.
And then you guys found a code book in that house that would prove to be the reason for your next step of your journey. Then some Zentarum rode into town. 6 Zentarum, or 7 of actually, yeah. And you dealt with them by Kazan shapeshifting into the woman, who you guys did not know this at the time, but was actually in the campaign book and everything. He is in love with Kella, who sort of treats him like shit. And he would do pretty much anything for her. Like that's in the campaign book. So Kazan like turning into her and coming out was pretty much the perfect way to play that in
Nice.
in getting them to do whatever you want. So yeah, you did that, impersonated her, led them into an ambush, I believe.
Not a great one.
a big fight broke out.
We tried.
Yeah.
I think at one point Raymond was like on top of the windmill.
The windmill over here? Yeah, there was a... I think... Was this the fight?
Seven samurai'd it.
Yeah, pretty much. And then after they were dead, you moved into the southernmost portion where the actual castle was, where you met the dead matriarch of Nightstone and her guards, who ended up just kind of being useless to you. They told you that cloud giants had dropped rocks and goblins had invaded afterwards, just opportunistically.
I tried to break into her chest.
And there was an animated sword that attacked you.
Yep. What would I have gotten if I'd gotten in?
Oh, that's a good question. I actually don't have a lot of this stuff up anymore, but...
These are the questions we'll be asking.
Yeah. What would I have gotten?
I don't know, get a little side view picture.
Yeah, I couldn't find a good way to get that out to show that to you guys. I mean, I guess technically you could see that when you were approaching, but... I don't know. I think I may have... Oh, no, finished. There we go. I put them into a finished folder. You would get... a bunch of a velvet sack containing 180 silver, 100 gold piece gemstones, 3 beautiful gold necklaces. So just treasure. There was no magic items in it. It was just... Which for level 1, or level 2, which you guys were at the time, that's pretty solid treasure.
Yeah, it was.
100 gemstones or 100 gold gemstones would become very popular later. So yeah, oh yeah, if you notice, this map, I had to do a lot of work to get this map working the way it worked in the game. The way it worked initially is The insides of each of the buildings are all on this right side of the map if you scroll to the right a little bit. And I would have to move you guys to the insides as you go inside of buildings. Like, move you to a different part of the map to be on the inside. So, I don't know. So instead, I can drag them around and show them to you. Like, here is the... I ended up just kind of copying and pasting and cutting out chunks of the insides and dragging them over the top of the things, which I think was fairly seamless. I don't think you guys noticed that it was a completely different cutout of a thing.
It looked great. Yeah.
No, not really.
That's hilarious.
So you can see, like, on this top right one over here, like, it's just a building, like, that you don't actually get to see inside.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I like that you did that. That worked really well.
I think it ended up working well. This is also the only time I changed every map after this. This was the only map where it had the half-size tokens.
Yeah.
Like,
The whole time.
yeah, I hated it. It looks weird when you zoom out. Like, your health bars are like half the size of the box above you. It's very kind of
because like all the maps in Storm King's Thunder are all like 10 foot.
Yeah. Most of them are that size. They're just huge. And Roll20 has trouble with the giant maps, so that was sort of their compromise, I think. I just didn't like the way it looked, so I said, screw the loading times. I can take it.
So you just went in and doubled the size of the map.
I did. Yeah. Then what happened? Then Captain Zelen rode in with his army of Zentarum, which I have now deleted, so they're not here. But this was, yeah, you guys got on the walls over here on the west side, and we're trying to negotiate with them, I believe, in the beginning, and then it sort of turned into a combat session. And this is the first time you guys met Felgalos, because he flew in the middle of this combat encounter. He flew in.
That was a crazy moment when
Yeah.
comes crashing in and starts attacking with us.
At
We're
level...
like marching on the thing, and we're not able to shoot any of these guys.
Right. Yep, they're all coming up, and it's kind of supposed to be that sort of like, I don't think you guys could beat this sort of scenario. Like,
All right, that happens like 4 times in the course of this campaign, though.
this campaign loves
It
putting
loves that
its
scenario.
it loves putting its players against like too big odds and figuring out how to handle that. Like
Yeah,
either with some
getting to escape
through
through a cutscene.
through some external events, or just figure out how to survive. But they
It's
like
basically that, and then Zephyros, and then at the Temple of the Allfather, the Blue Dragon shows up, and then when the Kraken shows up,
yes.
it's like at least like holy crap.
Yeah. A lot of like, you're not actually expected to fight this. You can if you want to, but you will just straight up die if you try. But yeah, Felgalo shows up. He's hunting Zentarum. I believe he just immediately takes off. And at that point, you guys have the quest to save the rest of the villagers, because the rest of the villagers have gone to the Dripping Caves. They evacuated there to hide out from the Cloud Giants.
This is still all part of the campaign.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll let you guys know what's me and what's the campaign book, because
Okay. This
I
map
would.
is from the Dungeon Master's Guide.
Is
They
it
just
really?
reused it for Storm King's Thunder. Yes, it is in the back of the Dungeon Master's Guide.
Okay, I didn't know that.
It's like a generic cave map.
A generic cave, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, so you guys came to the Dripping Caves to rescue villagers. You guys had a really protracted fight with these ogres in the middle section, where like you were trying to draw them out.
I disguised myself as a prisoner, and one
That's
of the ogres
yeah.
like, dragged
Took
me over
you
there
to the prisoners. That's right.
Yeah.
And then you guys were sniping
I was
the
digging
goblins.
That fucking basket
Yeah,
of faces early on.
yeah. Sniping the goblins on the ledges. Yeah, and then exactly. You got in there with the prisoners, and then I believe you pretty much immediately got them out, and then you began continuing to explore the cave. I think.
I mean, we fought pretty early though.
Say again.
In terms of we took. Are you talking about after we killed the ogres?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because you went down. I think after freeing the people, you went down and fought these black puddings. Or it was one black pudding, and every time you cut it, it turned into two.
Yeah.
And then you came over into the goblin section of the cave on the left-hand side, where you ran into Snigbat, the goblin.
I love that guy.
Wanting to protect the little baby goblins. There he is down there. And he helped you when you went to go fight. What was his name? Hark, the goblin boss, up here. And he had something that was special about him, but I don't remember. He had
Rats.
He had rats. Yes, there were lots of rats.
The Soul Eater.
He had Soul Eater, yeah, which Tim carried for a while. Well, I guess you carried it the entire game, but you used it for a long while, collecting souls. So yeah, you killed Hark, took his Soul Eater.
You were already level 3 by the time.
Yes,
we were doing
and at the end of this dungeon, you were
so
level 3.
fast.
It was, how many sessions was that? 5 sessions, and you were.
And then we were only level 3 for this one dungeon.
For this one dungeon.
This one dungeon lasted.
This
2
campaign gives no shits about
Yeah.
pre-level 5. Like, it's
I mean,
just
this is
like.
a tier 2 campaign.
Yeah.
It's like we just need to get the players to 5 as quickly as possible.
Yeah, yeah.
Then the real campaign starts.
I mean, really, honestly, the campaign book kind of acknowledges that. Like, everything
Yeah.
pre-Bryn Shander is almost prologue. It's like, here's just getting you into the events of the story.
And the things right after Bryn Shander felt like a lot of side questy stuff too.
I think that was me, though. I'm trying to remember. I don't think the
Where it
side.
tells you just to go to like different places up there.
Yeah. I'll talk about that in just a second. But you guys go back to Nightstone, and then you get your next phase of your quest to go to Bryn Shander and turn in that code book. Because there was a couple there who were Harper spies and were keeping a log of giant activity. So you guys were pretty, I don't know what the word is, pessimistic about journeying all the way from Nightstone to the fucking top of the world at Bryn Shander.
Yeah.
Assuming that it was going to be, a months-long journey. But immediately out of Nightstone, you come across Zephyros's tower. So this one also, if you guys zoom all the way out and scroll to the right, there's also a side view of it too, which it's weird that they're part of the map and not like a handout. That kind of bug makes I'd like to show them this just so they can see like
It's a giant wizard hat.
an actual wizard hat. Yeah.
Yeah, that is weird.
But Zephyros showed up. I think you guys found out later that his scrying into the future led him to you inadvertently, but he forgot that that's what he was doing. Because at the time, you just thought it was just happenstance. He would just happen to be there. But he was kind of going crazy by doing all that fortune telling with his crystal ball. So yeah, he offered to take you to Bryn Shander. And once again, this is all still campaign book scripted. And on the way up, you guys have 2 scripted encounters, which I wasn't a huge fan of either one of these, but it's just sort of something to do while you're in his tower. Like, I don't think they wanted to wave away the entire journey. So you guys are first attacked by air cultists, which I think I deleted those tokens as well when you beat them. But you guys were attacked by air cultists who I think just wanted the castle itself. That was sort of an odd encounter that didn't really have anything to do with anything. It's just air cultists just wanted a cloud giant castle. And this fight was notable because it was the first time you guys fought an invisible enemy and didn't know what to do.
Forgot about that.
Yeah, there was an invisible stalker.
I think you just had him retreat at the end.
At the end, I determined that whoever was holding the whoever was controlling. Oh no, it was whoever had the invisible stalker inside of the bag of holding. Once he didn't have the bag of holding anymore, he lost control of the invisible stalker. That's kind of how I like dealt with that and got him out of there, because he had a ton of health. Invisible stalkers are beefy.
I think they're CR 3 or 4 or something.
Yeah.
Up there.
And you guys had dealt with all the cultists, and that stalker was still just there with like most of his HP. And it was just going to be a long, protracted battle of you guys not seeing him. And
CR 6.
yeah, it's. So it was more. I was confident you guys
That
could.
alone would have been more than we could fight.
I think you guys could have beaten him, but it was going to take a long ass time. He had a lot of HP, and you guys couldn't see him, so like the hitting him was, difficult. The hitting him. But the next one, you guys did not have to fight, I believe. And that was the dwarves who came in on a rock. They were part of the Lord's Alliance. It was sort of part of the backstory of the giants attacking the coast. And the dwarves had been tasked with just destroying any giants they could find. And so when they got word of this cloud giant tower floating around, they came to attack it and bring it down. And I do believe you guys just talked them out of it. You guys explained that Zephyros was not a bad dude. And that you guys were trying to save the Sword Coast from giants.
Mm-hmm.
So they hopped on their rocks and left. And when you guys got near Bryn Shander in Zephyros' tower, then Miss Iamrith came for you. Which you guys didn't know it was her at the time, I guess. You guys didn't know that there was who the villain was at all at that time. But
That was a neat scene.
yeah. One thing I kind of sort of covered and kind of got lost in the chaos at the end was just what Iamrith was doing. And with all the like divination magic and the visions and all that shit, she essentially had over the years crafted a spell on herself that made her impervious to all divination magic. And if people tried to look for her, all they would see is that storm cloud that would then be able to attack them. And when they did that, she would become aware of their presence. And she could go find them. So Zephyros had been looking for her for all that time. And I believe that while you guys were traveling, Corinne, I believe you, like, went into a vision with him.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
saw the storm cloud. And so the idea is that when you did that, Iamrith basically like saw you all and saw Zephyros and came for you. So yeah, she blew up the tower and killed Zephyros. And Zephyros, in a final act of valor, pushed you all out of the tower so that you would not die.
However, until the end, Kazan believed Zephyros could be alive when he saw one giant form in the background. It could be Zephyros.
Could be him. He could still be alive. And I kept him in my back pocket too. Like maybe I'll bring him back. I think Eric. I think you mentioned this in one of your recaps. At the end, that could in Iamrith's lair, that could have been Zephyros, but I think the story-wise, it just made more sense for Iamrith to just straight up murder Zephyros than to actually take him prisoner for some reason, versus Harshnag, who was technically being kept specifically because you guys were haranguing Iamrith as sort of a insurance policy. She didn't even know who you guys were. She didn't really even know of your guys' existence at this point. She was just going after the people who were looking for her.
That's just rude.
Too insignificant.
Yeah. You all fell from the tower
The Yeti.
into the snowfields.
Yetis.
I believe you guys started this out by freezing in the snow, and Bryce lighting a fire. This is funny because this whole thing. This is the first time that this is totally off book. This is not in the campaign book at all.
So in the campaign, does he just drop us off in Bryn Shander? Then?
In the campaign book, Zephyros is a fucking taxi. He has nothing to do with anything. Zephyros is not involved in the plot whatsoever in the campaign book. He's just a friendly cloud giant who is out in the world, and he sees you. He's like, "Hey, would you like a ride to where you want to go?" Yeah.
Hey kids, want to get in my car?
It's super dumb. It's just Zephyros just offers some adventurers a ride, and drops them off in Bryn Shander and leaves.
And flies away. What?
I've got candy.
Yeah. It's no good.
It's
It's
so.
And the campaign book basically even says, like, we need to get your adventurers to their next destination without weeks of travel. So here's a solution, Zephyros.
Wow.
So yeah, Zephyros being.
Why not just at that point? Why not just make the town that we start in closer to Bryn Shander?
So that's a good question. There are two other options for where you guys can go after Nightstone. The campaign book has 3 cities that. Because the 3 cities that you can go to, and they all have the same fate, where when you get there, they become besieged by giants. And the other 2 have stuff happen after the fact. So you guys encountered one. You guys went to Bryn Shander. You could have gone to... Well, this was my choice, not your guys's. But I could have done Tribor instead of Bryn Shander. And then Tribor would have been attacked by fire giants. What actually ended up happening, because I had you guys go to Bryn Shander, was you guys saw the aftermath of the Tribor attacks, where the fire giants had sort of rolled through and burned that town to pieces. Or Golden Fields, which I did end up using as a siege.
Which I burned down to pieces.
Yeah.
Why did you decide to do Bryn Shander?
Because the other 2 were super chaotic. Tribor and Golden Field. That's it. What we actually ended up doing with Golden Field is not at all what's in the book. Both those attacks are sort of like they're all over immediately. They're all throughout the town, and and it was real unclear. Like, okay, are the adventurers supposed to like travel from building to building looking for these giants?
Oh wow!
It just seems more chaotic. Whereas Bryn Shander is a clear there's a siege. And there's one central point of the siege where your adventurers should be. And part of that was also that I did not like the way they handled the combat in those sections, where they basically just said, forget the grid. Just wing it. Just theater their mind. Which, if you guys remember, was kind of frustrating for you in that Bryn Shander siege, because you had no idea how far away you were from anything. But we'll get to that in just a second. But yeah, the Zephyros dropping you off thing, didn't use that, ended up, making part of your backstory, Kazan, and then having Ironworth kill him, which was basically just emotional stakes for you. That's all that was. It was just like,
I liked it though.
He's the bad guy, and she's gonna kill somebody you care about.
That was a DM toying with your emotions.
Yeah, exactly. It was fridging the cloud giant is what I did there.
Fridging the cloud.
And here's a fun fact. In this scenario, I was just totally winging it. I had not planned for you guys to role play this snowfield stuff so much. Halfred said, "Do I detect monstrosities in the area?" And I said, "Yeah, 2." Just I wasn't thinking about anything at that point. I didn't know.
This is the kind of background info that I like.
I literally was just like, there's monstrosities in the area, probably, and then I was desperately looking in the token page for what monstrosities would be in snow.
Wow.
I picked Yetis.
The only reason we got Yetis is because Raven asked about.
Yeah,
God damn it!
I picked Yetis, dropped them in, and started that fight, and then looked at their character sheet and saw what CR value they were, and went, "Oh, I'm sorry."
Son of a bitch.
The Yetis were CR.
Son of a bitch.
CR3, but there were 2 of them, and they did a shit.
Level 4
You were level 4 at the time, and they did some damage to you guys that first time
Alright.
you fought them.
For anybody that does not watch this campaign or that moment, there was one point you rolled 4 20s in a row.
Yep. Oh yeah,
You had
that's yeah.
disadvantage, and you fucking attacked me with multi-attack, and you crit on both of them.
Yep.
Somebody told me the odds in the comments at one point. It was like 1 in
Some crazy.
160,000 or something to do that. And I was like, "Yep, I still think about that moment."
Kaz getting
And I went down, like
Yeah,
straight up,
yeah.
took me down with that, and it was like there was a fog cloud up, so you had disadvantage on hitting me. Oh my god.
Yep.
That
So
is hilarious. That you didn't even have that. Point.
none of this was planned. This was I found this map as we were talking about it. I found I'm sorry. Actually, this map actually was part of it because I was gonna have you guys like fall in the snow, but I wasn't gonna do the Yetis. So yeah, then I had to find. Then I think you guys scared off the Yetis. I think.
No, we killed them.
No, you killed them later because they were following you.
Yeah.
No, Well, I think we
So,
killed.
No,
these
initially, no, these are the same too. So initially, we scared them off with fire. So my little fire orb things, I kind of
Right.
surrounded them because they were
Oh,
supposedly afraid of
yeah.
fire. So we beelined it to the city, and then they ambushed us in like the
That's
hallway
right.
thing.
Right here.
And then-
Chase.
That's when Kazan like lost his shit because he has a PTSD.
Yeah. So this was
First
your guys.
attack.
This was your guys' revenge on the Yetis after the Yetis tore you a new one at the camp.
For
That's
Kazan.
right.
Tor
I was,
Kaz-
like, hacking
Yeah. Kazan lost his mind briefly, covered himself in gore.
Went all
Wow.
crazy.
And all of this was just off the cuff.
That's hilarious.
None of this
Such
was
a
planned.
memorable moment.
It was just completely
That's funny.
Random
I had
ass.
no idea.
Yeah.
Damn it, Raymond.
Yep. Raymond had to ask about
Really
monstrosities. So yeah, that was that. Then came you guys arriving in Bryn Shander proper. I'll go ahead and take you the Bryn Shander map, but it's got all the siege shit going on it. But you guys, the siege hadn't happened yet. What?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What first happened when you guys arrived in Bryn Shander is you just started meeting the people of the town, the people that you would eventually control, the knight and the dwarf woman, and the poor fisherman that Tim got killed later. You met all these people, and then you went to an inn where you were ambushed.
One of them knew who I was.
This was straight up Bryce's campaign. This is her. This was the first of the dedicated side story material. Like this was all about Bryce's Zentarum connections, where she was on the run from the Zentarum because she betrayed them, and the Weevil had hired these hired killers here to kill
Which
her.
hilariously fun side note, Chris and I talked about this whole Zentarum piece of it when I picked him up from the airport.
That's right. That's
We
right.
We were driving back to the house.
Yeah.
So we came up with a whole shebang.
Yep.
Nice.
So yeah, there was that. They did some damage, but they were like lower level assassins basically.
These guys
Yeah, I
like made it
almost
into our
died.
room too, didn't they? Yeah.
Yeah,
I almost died.
all their power lied in sneak attacks. Like you guys people not knowing they were there and them getting sneak attack damage. And so I think they got a couple like hard stabs in, and then when you guys actually got up and fought them properly, you took them down. So after that, then came the siege, which I learned my lesson with Golden Fields later and actually took the time to build a gridded map, but I didn't know that this would be such a fucking pain in the ass to actually have a combat session where it's basically just a visual. There's very little like moving tokens about or anything like that.
Was it supposed to be combat?
It was. There was very little way to avoid that.
So all 3 of them are just giant attacks, but
Yes.
none of them are like battlefield maps.
Right.
They're just like giants invade the city. Good luck, DM.
Exactly. If you look at the fucking Tribor one, is the worst because they have a bunch of Magmans and Orcs with them, and it's basically a city map. It looks like this of Tribor, and the map's just fucking full of Magman tokens. It's like, what am I supposed to do with this? Like, this
Wow.
looks like just chaos.
Yeah. Huh.
So yeah, this was a protracted fight where it was way out of your guys' league, but the idea was supposed to be that you have additional players with you.
I liked the aspect that we meet all the people first, like all these NPCs, and then later on they're there in the fight with us, so we kind of care about them because we met them beforehand.
Yeah,
it's not just random people getting killed, and the fact that we got to control them as like extra people.
Right.
I love that Reese's character got squished.
Reese's character went on a suicide run. He ran out the gates.
That was fun.
So
he was the reason the tides turned for us.
Yeah, that's right. Because there was a lot of near the end. There was a lot of I don't remember the guy's name. I'm zoomed out, but running back, and the giants would chase him back, and then him running forward, and the giants were chasing him around instead of actually pounding down the gates. Sirac. Yeah. So yeah, the actual I liked all the characters. That was all fun. I guess somebody else died. Who was the woman? Beldora died. Yeah. I guess. Or did you guys bring her back? Oh yeah, Kazan ran her back to like a hospital.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Medic.
Like, what was supposed to happen in this situation?
You guys were supposed to win. You guys were supposed to take down Droofy.
All the giants?
No, just Droofy, the leader. And then they would pull back to their longships after Droofy was dead.
Droofy.
Yeah. Which you guys eventually did. But then you guys weren't actually supposed to fight the rest of these giants. The idea was supposed to be that there were like other guards on the wall fighting giants at various other places.
You, like extrapolate all the action like one localized area that we can actually fight in. Yeah, I can see why you picked this one now.
That would have been hilarious if we'd all decided to go to a different wall then.
Yeah, I mean, you guys could have left. You guys could have like tried to sneak out. You guys could have gone to a different wall, like abandoned.
Through all the various NPCs, you were trying to like explain the situation of like, all right, everybody, we need to hold the front gate.
Basically, yeah. But yeah, this was pretty much a hard combat encounter. There was going to be very little, unless, I mean, you guys could have done something, I don't know, really crazy. If you guys had successfully suggested Droofy into leading them away, she would have done that.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so, and the reward, which I cheated, the reward, which I remember, Reese, after the fact, you were disappointed to hear, was that all the NPCs that were alive would give you a quest. They would each give you a thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
And Sirac died. Like, he died. But I ended up cheating and somehow giving you the quest later on in the campaign anyway, because I had built all this shit and I didn't want to give up that quest. And his quest was the Roaring Horn Gala. Sirac's, like, uncle or something was Zelron Roaring Horn. So that whole, like, party was his quest. Ogrex...
You can't tie entire quest chains to whether an NPC lives or dies. Dream stakes battle. That's a tricky thing to do.
Exactly. I believe Beldora sent you to Thwip Ironbottom down as part of the Harpers. Sir Barrick... I have to actually pull up the quest. I don't remember what the rest of them were.
The one who knew who I was.
Who was it? Sir Barrick who knew you were?
Was that the Zentharl's Keep gave us, maybe?
Yeah, because he was the one that I controlled.
Okay, yeah.
Because after the battle was over and everyone was kind of going their separate ways, him and I walked off to talk to Zentarum shit, because he's the one who gave us the quest for the Weevil.
The Weevil, yes, okay. Yeah. Hunting the Weevil. The Harpers was Beldora. Sirac was the Roaring Horn Gala. I don't remember. Markham was the two side quests. In the sheriff, yeah. I think that's everybody. That was all of them. Oh, Ogric was the dwarf woman was Goldenfields, which you ended up doing way later.
Oh yeah. Oh, because she told about the giant killer.
Yeah, she'd like just so far down there. It was so far out of the way, and it was a like she heard it like fourth hand from stories that there was a giant killer. Yeah. And I tried not to do this. I tried to like actually have stuff change depending on how long it took you guys to do things. But Goldenfields was straight up in stasis until you guys arrived. Like, that siege was going to happen as you guys were arriving, regardless of how long it took you to get there.
Yeah.
Then
It's especially hard for that because it's so big.
it is very big, yes. Then you guys did some side quests for Markham, the sheriff, where the first one was the Lonely Wood up here in this northern tip, where you were investigating, I think, missing people. And I like the way you guys played this one. You guys played this one very detective-y.
Yeah.
You were like interviewing people. You found the brothers. You were grilling them, figuring out what they knew.
Rochelle and Heather were playing like good cop, bad cop or something.
That was later. That was later, but that was a really fun moment too, in the same section.
Yeah. Like FBI agents.
Yeah.
Like, going into town, like the
Yeah.
small town. Being like, all right, guys.
Yeah. And then I believe also Corinne, I believe this is the first time of many times to come, used her invisibility to spy on people.
Yep.
And she listened to the brothers talking, where you found out that it was their dad who was doing the killing. You follow them out into the woods, and their dad is a white. Oh no.
Damn Whitey.
He's yeah, that joke was made back then too, I think. Yeah, a white.
This is the one time we had the cool Halfred combo with the
Yes.
like entangling roots
Roots,
on the
and
ground.
then you.
And I was pushing him back.
Yep. Which, yeah, I think the only bummer in this fight was that one of the brothers actually got killed by the white, and you guys didn't know what to do with the other brothers. He just sort of sent him on his way.
Yeah.
I don't think you guys ever saw him again. But then you headed south, where
Chat's asking where you got the frozen white sheet.
the sheet. Oh boy!
It's the character sheet.
So
Stat block maybe.
these two side quests are definitely my own thing. They're not campaign book. But I forget. I think I just found this. I'd have to look it up.
You custom built some of these creatures.
I custom built a lot of creatures. The frozen white was definitely custom.
But I mean, in terms of like you literally came up with it from scratch. Or modify, like,
Some of them are modified. The frozen white is a modification of an actual white.
Yeah.
Like it's the white with something else added in. Defrost something. In the chilled body. And the image I just found online, which is why it doesn't quite look like a white. I remember you mentioning, Eric, that he has like bent back chicken legs for some reason. It's like, that's just a picture I found on the internet. It's not. Don't worry about that. You guys headed south, and
we were level 5 at this point, doing all the.
Oh,
after
after
the
Lonely Wood?
we hit level 5.
Oh, yeah,
Track
okay.
of the levels.
Yeah, okay.
So we made it through 11 sessions, and then at session 12, we were level 5 already.
Yeah. Little more than 2 sessions of level.
That's crazy.
Not a lot.
And things slowed down a bit.
Yeah. Yeah, because then the campaign book was like, this is
Yeah.
an actual.
Now they're where you need to be.
Yep. You found a frost giant with who had fought some crag cats. I think this one, which the only unfortunate thing, which I'll get to this later, you guys have to choose one of the giant lords to go after at the end. And so much of this Bryn Shander area has to do with the frost giants, and you guys found out so much about the frost giants' plans, and then didn't end up actually having to go there. Which I will say, it's kind of a blessing in disguise, because the frost giants' the whole thing with them is that they're going after this ring of winter that doesn't exist in the campaign. Like, there's nothing to find. They're just going to cause chaos while they look for it. But you found out that that's what they're doing. The frost giants are looking for some ring to turn the coast to the cold. Then you fought some glacial oozes on a frozen pond.
We used the entangling roots combo
Yes,
again.
yes. Yeah, and those were the side quests that Markham had given you.
And these were just you? Just put
Yeah,
together...
all that was me.
Okay.
Yeah, the glacial ooze was a character sheet I found online. So that was
Was that your idea to have all those NPCs have quests, or was that
no, that's campaign book, but the campaign book's quests are dumb. They're like, I don't know. I forget what the sheriff's was, but his were not that interesting.
Huh.
And none of the side quests had maps either. Like, it was just sort of like very like figured out. Like, so I picked and chose which quests to do for which people, and sort of made up ones that fit the campaign a little bit better. And then you guys stopped in this town, and that is when this is a really funny moment for me of role playing where Bryces and Corinne harangued two jackasses who were telling stories about killing the Yetis. There were these two like dude bros who were telling stories about fighting Yetis off on the road, and those two just had their way with those guys. Just...
That was funny as hell.
Nice.
Yep, put them in their place. And then you guys left 10 Towns.
Hey, we got free drinks out of it too.
You did get free. Yeah, that's right, because they were like assholes who were like there every night. Yeah. Then you guys started the long ass journey through the Sword Coast.
Oh my lord!
Starting
Back before we had the teleporter.
Yep. I don't know if the thing's actually moving you, but starting up here in Bryn Shannon at the very north, you all traveled south to Hundlestone. Hold on, I gotta take you back to the crackheads again.
Did you say I gotta take you back to the crackheads?
Crackheads.
What I heard.
And on the way to Hundlestone, you get ambushed by more Zentarum.
Damn Zentarum.
I think in hindsight, I think this one was just a way for me to put another fight into the session. I think maybe you guys hadn't had a fight that session. I don't remember, but all this was is basically just an ambush set up by the Zentarum and you guys. I think you guys found out that the Weevil did send them. Oh, this was a moment of panic for me because you guys took one and started interrogating them, which I was unprepared for how well you interrogated people at various points. And somehow you got out of them that they had a barracks in Waterdeep or something like that. And you guys discussed going down to Waterdeep to attack that barracks. I was like, fuck, guys, this is not... This is
so far off the page.
This is off the page. Which, I mean, we could have rolled with it if you guys had decided to do that.
Yeah.
But that was, like, going and attacking...
Sweating bullets and we're sitting here deciding what to do. I was like,
yeah.
This thing that's been heavily scripted and prepared, or this other thing?
Yeah. But you guys decided not to do that at some point. So, yeah. You guys went down to Hundlestone. You talked to Thwip Ironbottom. And I believe he sent you to Xantharl's Keep, I think. Because that's where he knew that a Zentarum outpost was.
Yeah, I wasn't thrilled about that one.
Right. The finding the Weevil quest was a whole bunch of you just chasing him to various spots and then him not being there for a good chunk. Let's see. Hundlestone, Thwip, Zentarum. You guys... Shit,
I have one section that just says the road to Mirabar, so I guess maybe this was part of this battle or something. In between Hundlestone and Zentharl's Keep.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. That road to Mirabar...
So much travel.
So much travel, yeah. That included you guys passing through Luskin and finding it was had just been destroyed by frost giants. That one had a fun bit where you guys, which once again, I made that shit up on the spot. You guys, I did not think you guys would like run and try to like jump in the ships to grab people out or whatever. I forget exactly what happened, but they were like ships that were sinking.
Yeah. And we like sprang into action.
You guys like sprung into action. I was like, all right, well, yeah, let's figure that out. I don't remember what I ended up giving you as a reward for doing that, but you saved some people from drowning there in Luskin.
That's what we do.
Yeah. Then
I got some treasure out of one of the ships.
I think you got some treasure out of one of you. Like stayed in the ship and were like picking stuff out of it as it was sinking.
We're rescuing people. It's just like pocketing all their gold. On brand.
Yeah, exactly. Then on the way to Mirabar, you all encountered some Knoll folk. Some Knoll slavers. Exactly. Before it kind of everything got too big to actually do that anymore. Yep, there are a bunch of gnolls, and half of these gnolls are not like. I mean, none of this is campaign book. By the way, like this is not.
Does it have any notes about random encounters? Like,
yeah, it's got a bunch of notes, and you can do a lot of random encounters. There's no maps. There's no like.
right.
And I think I think the Zent ambush is sort of was based on one of them, like just having to do with bandits. I'm trying to remember because these Null Slavers, you saved these people and took them to Mirabar and met with like the leader of Mirabar. Oh, that's how I snuck in the Roaring Horn thing, because you guys had killed Sirac, so he couldn't give you that quest. So instead, when you brought all these people back to Mirabar, the leader of Mirabar was so like happy to have her people back, or where. So I think it was like one of them was her son or something. And she gave you the Roaring Horn Gala quest, saying there's a rich dude who likes adventurers down, so you should go visit him.
I think I take offense to the fact you just said we got him killed. Like we did it on purpose.
I mean,
we're heroes, damn it.
You're heroes.
In a way.
In a way.
According to our PR person.
Yep. So you guys left.
Got murdered.
That's our motto. We're heroes, comma, damn it.
Yep.
LLC.
Yep. You guys left Mirabar with that quest in hand, and you continued on to Xantharl's Keep. You guys had a fun bit of role playing here, and there was an inn, and there was a Harper agent, and you guys there were these.
Follow her.
There were some Zentarum agents like hanging out in the bar. And I thought you guys were gonna kill them, and like
Hey.
a few less Zentarum to deal with. But instead of killing them,
We followed them.
you guys, two of you went invisible and followed them all the way back to their cave by yourselves. I think it was Bryce and Corinne again.
Beginning of splitting the party.
Yeah.
For reasons.
Followed them all the way back to their cave, while the rest of you were back in town, just going like, I don't know what happened. I hope they're all okay. And then you guys did a bit of recon at the Zent outpost.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. This was the... Oh, here's the other thing about this bit, was that I didn't expect you guys to do any recon on this place.
That's right, yeah. We were all kinds of...
Yeah. So this map didn't exist before the moments that before you guys decided to draw people. When you guys said we're gonna draw them out of the cave, I was like, oh shit, there's no map for that. Like, there's no outside of this cave map. So I found this one online as we were talking.
Really?
Yep. And that's why there's like white edges, because I didn't bother to like finish doing it precisely. And yeah, you guys drew some folks out of the cave. There were a couple of Orogs, a couple of Zent thugs, and you drew them all out before you actually went into the cave proper.
Yeah, because we like asked questions and like...
Yeah.
I mean, we were
You
all
and-
kinds of prepared to this.
I think you let one of them go
Yeah.
for like giving you information on the
Bryce didn't
whole...
like that.
No. Not in the slightest.
Heroes, damn it.
That's right. Next was the first dungeon you'd had since like level 2.
Yep.
The
Now,
Zentarum.
is this campaign or is this you?
No, this is me. This is all me.
Wow.
This is some dude.
Dungeon?
Yeah, this is a dude's map. So I didn't make this map. This is a map that folks who are watching, post questions in the video of this after it's been posted. I will answer where all these maps come from if you have any of those questions. I know I bought this on Roll20. This was like a map that a dude made.
Map.
It's a good looking map.
Like a temple in a cave or something.
Right. So I repurposed it as an abandoned cave that the Zentarum were, or an abandoned temple that the Zentarum were using as a outpost. So you guys chose not to go over here and engage the spider first, which I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, considering how it ended up. But this is where the aura.
That's a secret back door.
That's a secret back door. Yep. This over here was a stairwell that led to a tunnel that led right to where the three guys were, the three like bosses of the dungeon were talking.
Could we have heard them talking? Had we?
I was so pissed you guys didn't do any of that. Look, you guys had done
I remember you told me, because you and we talk a lot of times after the session, and I remember specifically you saying, because the way we played this, we didn't actually get any of this grand role-playing scene you had played out with the final guys. Because we just busted down the door saying, they're coming or something.
There were 3 people in that room who represent the 3 factions of the villains of this campaign, which the 3 factions are the Zentarum, the Kraken Society, and Ironrith. They are all completely separate factions, but they're all working together for nefarious ends. These were 3 representatives of each of those factions who were discussing like their plans and explaining all the factions, explaining who they were.
Now you could have, I think, and I was on the bus down the door. I think you could have had the voices raised and like stopped me like in a cutscene or something.
I think there was some of that. No, because you guys didn't allow any of that. You guys had. I think you guys rang the bell for the alarm.
We did.
Like, you straight up drew them out of the room. You never went close. And then you like shapeshifted into one of the guards and went in and was like yelling like, "Oh, they're this way."
Yeah, that's right. Holy crap.
So you
we were planning all kinds of this dungeon, weren't we?
Yeah.
Jeez. I remember I walked into the guard outpost and just was able to like walk in and like talk to those guys too.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
The guys that were like right here.
Yes. Yeah. There were 2 guys that were on watch. This is where I believe Bryce's found the secret alarm system. Not secret. The alarm system with the ropes. To the X's when you deactivated those. You came into these.
So what were the 3 factions?
The Zentarum. The Zentarum, who were Ironrith, and the Kraken Society.
Okay, Society, yeah.
And they were all just technically allies. They weren't like part of the same. They weren't like together, but they were working together. If that makes any sense.
So we were pretty confused when that one thing turned into like this abyssal creature. And it was like, what the fuck is
right?
going on?
Yes, exactly. Like, what is this thing? Like, this is nothing to and the Krakens. We'll get to that later. Yeah. So you guys killed the 2 guards right at the front with their little pit trap. You killed some sleeping people over here on the left side who were just reinforcements if the bell got rung. That's all. That's what those guys were. Their only function.
We're winners. We kill sleeping people.
That's right.
Yep.
You went to the north, fought some more reinforcements in a dining room. Found out Heather's deathly afraid of snakes. We didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. Nope.
That's why the snakes are covered up.
Still colored in. Yeah, they're still colored in.
Yeah.
They're not going to be uncolored. Nope. They're good.
And then, you guys figured out. I don't remember how you figured it out, but you figured out that because interrogating people. That's how you figured it out. That the 3 bosses basically were in this bottom right room. And you guys decided you didn't want to go in there directly, so you made up this whole plan involving ringing the bell. Chasm was going to be one of the guards, lead them out, and you were going to surprise them at this little choke point right here. And it worked really well, because my fucking necromancer orc right here never got to do a goddamn thing.
So, chat is just talking about this. They felt bad for you with this fear on everybody.
Yeah.
It was really effective. But I think this is the only time fear was like exceptionally.
Yeah, it was
really
yeah.
It was like the first time I'd used it, but man, it locked down. Like,
yeah.
Yeah. It was
really if you look over here.
Nowhere for them to run. They were just like
here are the skeletons he would have summoned if he was allowed to act. It's all.
Remember last time you had a necromancer guy later on with the weevil.
Oh no, that was a reissue of this dude.
Okay.
Like, because I never got to use this dude, so like when we got to the
and you didn't get to use that one either.
Not really. He did get to summon the skeletons, but then the anti-magic thing broke him apart.
You had that anti-magic
one. Yeah.
Chris nerfed his own guy.
Yeah.
During that fight.
This was a fun dungeon though.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you went back to Xanthar's Keep and found out you weren't really welcome because the Zentarum were like kind of patrons of the town. So you left.
Technically, I was welcome, but
Do we have a choice again after this, or did we have our next location?
No, you always had like 4 or 5 quests in your log, but your guys' decisions were always heavily colored by travel time.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like it was always just what's closest, which makes sense. I mean, when you guys are just traveling, on horseback, it's sort of like, do I want to go 3 months this way, or was it 3 months? Like 3 weeks straight south, or 4 days to the east.
4 days.
Yeah. At this point, you guys
Made level 6.
made level 6 after being in that dungeon. So that was Xantharl's Keep here, and you just traveled straight down through Longsettle.
Giant red line that went all the way.
Yes.
Through a path.
All the way down through Longsettle to Tribor, where you guys saw the aftermath. I think I deleted that map because I couldn't find it after the fact. But found the aftermath of a fire giant attack. And this was another thing where I didn't really know what you guys were going to do with a destroyed city. But you guys kept role-playing it and kept role-playing it. And I was like, all right, well, these people will take help. So what ended up happening was you guys ended up escorting a bunch of refugees out of Tribor because they didn't have any food to Yartar. Which I think you guys at this point were heading for Everland because you guys kept debating over whether you even wanted to go to Everland because Everland seems so fucking far away. But
That's right.
I had to keep hinting to you guys that if you go to Everland, your travel problems will not be a thing anymore.
Specifically, it was Everland we could go to Everland to help the Harpers, and you told us about the Harper had the teleportation network.
Which I wasn't supposed to.
That information, we're like, all right, Everland is really awful to get to, but knowing that would make it easy, we're like, all right, well, let's do this. So
that wasn't supposed to be a thing you guys would know until you got to Everland and like allied with the Harpers. Then they would be
Why
like,
would they ever go that far?
Yeah. But when you guys started really questioning it, it was like, all right, fine. You'll get something cool. You'll get a teleportation network.
Yeah.
So you guys went from Tribor to Yartar. On the way to... you may cover this at the end, Eric, but I believe the Xanthar's Keep dungeon was the first time... Well, no, not the first time, but Tim got his leg fucked up in that fight.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That because the spider at the end, I think, bit him, and that was a really bad spider.
Poison damage.
Yeah.
That was not the first.
Was that the second?
I think that was the first time somebody failed one of the
No,
oh, really?
I failed mine, but I rolled a 20 and had a minor scar.
Okay. Oh, that's right.
That
The
for a while,
Yetis.
where I was,
You had like
scratching my
Yeti
Yeah, the
slashes.
Yeti claw. Yeah, I failed it and then rolled a 20 on the lingering injury, which is just a minor scar that doesn't have any effect.
Yep.
So Tim's was the first one that failed it and had a lingering injury, which is the crippled limb.
Right.
All because we randomly decided to go out that exit because I think we just
You saw the
like, a
secret
bunch of
exit.
shit,
Yeah,
saw
yeah.
the stairs. Yeah, we're like, oh, maybe there's a treasure room. We just went in. There's a big fucking spider. We're like,
Yep.
oh, okay. We're like all like trying to go in the tunnel, not really paying attention because it's like after the dungeon.
You
And all of a
thought
sudden,
you were
Tim just
done.
gets fucked by the spider. We're
Yeah.
like, oh shit, this is bigger than we thought.
Yeah. And that was supposed to be the other way. Like you fight the big bad spider at the beginning, and your reward is a secret passage into the boss room. But yeah, so you guys come to Yartar. On the way to Yartar, I believe some of you rode ahead to like let them know that people were coming, and some of you stuck with the citizens of Tribor.
I think it was Cassin who stayed with the citizens, wasn't it?
Maybe, and I think maybe Halford did
I
too.
do remember splitting up like that.
Yeah.
Isn't this where we found that kid who was like in the weird little water pod?
Yes. So you found the Rosolio boy in a cocoon on the side of the river. This is straight up an adventure out of the DM's Guild that I took and repurposed for our use here, because in which you guys barely even ended up remembering or noticing, but which I found funny. Late in the game, your clue on where to find Hecaton is that golden goose token. But you don't know anything about that in the campaign book. That's brand new information to you. There's a guide I found to running Storm King's Thunder, which says you should have an adventure that has to do with the Grand Dame beforehand, so that they at least have some previous knowledge of it as a thing. Because otherwise, the Grand Dame is really boring at the end. Because there's not it's a real low level guys. There's not you guys ended up setting it on fire, but it's
Yeah.
um
Setting Grin on fire.
yeah. So the solution was have an adventure that has to do with the Grand Dame. I was like, okay, great. I'll tie that into the Case Society too, because
What was the name of the DM's Guild adventure?
I forget.
Under supplement.
I'll look. Yeah, probably a supplement. And I forget what the actual name of the dungeon or the actual name of the adventure was.
So that was just the Grand Dame section.
Well, and the sewers. So the adventure was you find the boy in the
It
cocoon.
included all of that. The
Yeah.
amulet and everything.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
You find the boy in the cocoon. You bring him back to his mother, who's like the actual like head of an important family in Yartar. Find out Yartar is sort of led by these important families. Young people in the family, young men in these families have been missing. But that they all go to the Grand Dame. The missing people. Meanwhile, you also go and you get Tim's leg fixed, and he gets felt up by a priest.
Yeah, I remember I had to pay a shit ton of money to get his leg.
That was,
fixed.
I believe, the second time. I don't know.
Was it the second?
No,
I thought it was
you guys,
the first time.
You guys paid both times, actually. So the first time you may have paid a bunch of
we
money.
paid.
I think the first time was a bunch of money, and the second time, Kazan talked him into a discount.
Yeah. This was the
Which
first
I did
time
not
I
pay the second
Didn't
time.
I like mind control?
Yes,
of
you
one
did
of the
mind
doctors at some point.
Yeah, that was the second time.
Mhm.
And this is the first time I tried to give a clue that Tim did in fact have a soul. Because I had the priest mention that like the magic
Your
doesn't
soul count is off the chart.
the magic doesn't work on constructs, but it repaired his leg anyway. But anyway, so you guys go to the Grand Dame, and we get the first instance. So this was another one where technically this is, I guess you can consider this part of Kazan's side story, because Atalia ended up playing a large part in that. So this is the map after you guys burned it down. So it doesn't look the same anymore.
That was me.
But you guys went there the first time and you went undercover. You basically just went in as actual people wanting to gamble. And you caught sight of Kazan. You caught sight of Atalia there, and she was on the arm of some young nobleman that you presumed was going to be part of the plot. I believe Bryce and Corinne cheated at cards while that was going on.
Oh yeah,
Corinne-
that's one of my favorite moments.
Corinne went invisible and was like cheating at
Forgot about
cards.
that was excellent.
Yeah. So that at the end of the evening, when Atalia left with the nobleman, you all followed her into the Yartar sewers.
Where we knocked that bitch unconscious.
You did. You immediately, as the top left is where you guys started. You immediately took her out. I don't remember exactly how you did it without, you were following her and then you caught up to her. But you stopped her from going very far into these sewers. And you rescued this nobleman early on. And you interrogated her, found out that she served some individual that you guys didn't know about at the time. Yeah, and then I believe you had this Kmed guy, who I believe was a butler of the Rosolio family, watch her while you all went into the sewers. What you did, you fought these fish people down here. Then you went up here, turned on the water, which activated the Otiug up here. Let's see. And if you can't tell, this is if you can't tell, this map has been very cobbled together.
Segmented.
It looks like a mess like this, but when you put the dynamic lighting in, you guys can't see all the extra shit. All this bottom stuff is not part of the actual map. It's stuff that I covered up. So yeah, you guys went over here to go down the sewer grate to fight the Aboleth, which is a real tough fight. It's supposed to be. He is like a mind controller.
I mean, you guys fought an Aboleth near the end of Princes of the Apocalypse.
Yes.
Like, that was the boss of one of the big dungeons.
Yeah.
So when I saw an Aboleth, I was like, holy shit.
Right. Yep.
I wasn't worried.
And I think the part of it, which I don't know if you guys ever caught onto it for fully, but the marrow was currently under its control, and you guys could have attempted to break it out of the mind control. I don't remember. You did something after the fact. I think you tried to.
We let him go.
You let him go.
But we mind controlled him initially or something, didn't we? Because we stopped him from like raising the water.
You did. I don't remember if that was. I think you just shut him down. I think you just killed him or knocked him out.
No, I think he escaped. Like we just straight up let him go. Because we were trying to get answers or something, and
yeah,
he only had like 2 hit points or something.
you guys took him out of the fight somehow so that he couldn't raise the water. Okay. That fight, which was a fun mechanic, and you guys caught on and didn't let it happen. That fight has a fun mechanic where this room fills up with water as you turn that dial, and the water is full of like aboleth poison that does terrible things. I think it makes it so you can only breathe in water. It's a straight up like poison that does bad things to you. And also it would allow him to sort of and it would also allow him to sort of get close to you, and it would try to drown you and all that jazz. Instead, I think you guys just fucking wasted the dude. I think Halfred used
Alfred shut it down with some arrow you gave it that like paralyzed it.
A paralyzing arrow,
and like took it down for like all the rounds.
Yeah.
So all he could do was like your legendary action, I think, or something.
Yeah.
I remember you were very upset about this boss fight.
He did.
It was like
a lot of boss fights.
It was a total non-starter.
Yep. He just did not get to do half of what he was going to do.
There were a lot of boss fights that went that way, though, to be fair.
Yeah. So you shut him down. You tried to interrogate the marrow. Didn't learn anything from him. He was just a feral creature that the aboleth was controlling. So you went back to the Rosolios with the quest complete. And I don't remember what the reward was. You guys found some stuff there, and I feel like there was some big reward for this dungeon, but I don't remember what it was.
I know Talia got away.
She did.
Came back,
yes, you came back and she had knocked the. Yeah, she had gotten away. Which that's just straight up me cutscening. Like she needs to be. She needs to be in the game later. Like you left her alone, so she's gone.
Yep.
So then you all left Yartar and completed the journey to Everland, where you were going to get the help of the Harpers. And they gave you the quest to go to Hawksnest and help that Pyrone guy. And I believe he sent you, this is like a chain of like people sending you places. He sent you to this fire giant dig site.
Oh yeah, Singbat.
Where's you saw Singbat again? The goblins had fled and were captured by fire giants. And you guys handled this fight really well because fire giants are fucking monsters. And I believe we're level 6 at this point. And so a straight ahead fight would have been a disaster. But you guys had every opportunity to. What I discovered at some point in this campaign is that if I give you the guys the opportunity to sneak up on people, you can handle a lot of like really out-leveled fights pretty well.
Yeah, you had a chance to like plan and
yeah. And I believe like Halford was invisible and fired a blinding flash in one of their eyes, and that was the start of combat. So one of them was just straight up blinded throughout the entire combat, I believe. And then someone called the goblins to arms, and the goblins started helping and getting massacred.
Well, that was partly, you turned a lot of the attacks that they would have done onto the goblins, and we lost a few goblins.
That's right, because there was a hellhound here. There was a hellhound, and the goblins decided that was
breathing fire on the goblins.
Yeah, so the goblins were going down. But you guys did defeat the fire giants.
First time we defeated the giants in a straight up fight, I think.
Yeah. This was a bit,
because a lot of my spells are basically fire by this point.
Right. Yeah, that's true. The fire giants weren't gonna take much from that.
Fireballs with fire giants, not a good idea.
Yeah. Then you sent Stigbat into the high forest, I believe, to live a peaceful life with his tribe, which you can assume that he did. Stigbat is currently in that forest, living a happy life.
That's one of our Epilogue slides.
That's right, Stigbat.
Goblin family.
He
became a terrible warlord of the high forest. Raised a legion of goblins, covered the world.
Yep. So then you went back to Everland. And we
turned in our quest.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. You went, which this was a weird timing issue, which was partially my fault, just because the two things were so close together, like geographically. But you get hippogriffs, and then you get the teleportation network, one after the other. So it's like, all right, well.
We flew the hippogriffs back to town and immediately just put them in a stall because we had teleport.
Yep. Pyron Cavalos guy.
So were the hippogriffs part of the campaign then?
Nope.
Is it?
Well, you know what? Yes, they were. So I'll give you guys a little peek behind the curtain here. It's divided into acts. Act 1 is Nightstone, basically. Nightstone and Zephyros' Tower. Act 2 is Bryn Shander. That's basically it. All like Bryn Shander. Act 3 is fucking the world map. And what the campaign book has is an entry for each city on this world map that tells me what's going on in that city should you all choose to go there. That is a fucking nightmare. So there is a lot of stuff in this campaign book where it's like if they choose to go to Hawk's Nest, there is a hippogriff trainer there who is having trouble with fire giants, and so on and so forth. I railroaded that a little bit where you actually had a quest.
So you gave us that quest in Everland, though.
Right.
So you wanted us to have those hippogriffs?
Yes. I wanted you guys to have a way of traveling without traveling by road, because that was it was the length of time.
But we just gotten the teleport from.
Yeah, but
Everland.
Even with the teleport, I mean, you guys still saw there was still a good amount of travel between those major city hubs.
And the teleporters only went to certain areas. The hippogriffs took us to all the rest of it.
Yeah, you guys ended up using your hippogriffs pretty. And I mean, you guys would have had no way to go to that air castle without your hippogriffs. There's a number of places.
Yeah, that's true.
That you needed those hippogriffs for.
It's like buying a car and having public transit all in the same space.
Yeah, right. Which, and I will say, you guys did a good job of keeping those hippogriffs alive too. They were just straight up flying horses, and they could have died. If you had ridden one into combat, it would have died. So I forget what.
All right, Chris. So up to this point, what great loot have we missed?
You guys have not missed anything yet.
We were.
I will say, I had
all the stuff has been by him. So
right. I will say I had a plan for if you guys chose to go to Neverwinter straight south from Muskin instead of going to Mirabar. I was building this huge because Xanthar's Keep.
That's right. Is that the one you talked about, the barracks that we could go
Yeah.
Okay.
Xanthar's Keep had a big because here's the thing. When you guys said you were going to go to Xanthar's Keep, I was like, all right, I'm planning for that. That was it's like a month and a half away. I'm making a map. I'm building a dungeon, and then you guys got to that ambush, and you're like, well, maybe we should go to Neverwinter instead. There's barracks down there or whatever.
Yeah.
So that was the freak out moment. But I had a plan for Port Last. I was building a map there where it was actively under attack from frost giants, and it's a big map of a city and a port, and it was sort of it's foggy, and there's frost giants just trolling the streets, and it's sort of you all having to go through the streets and sneak up on frost giants and that kind of thing. But we never ended up going to Port Last. So the Xantharos Keep was instead. But you guys haven't missed anything at this point. Partially because this whole world is so open that I would have had to make anything that you guys would have gone after. Then with the teleporters, you all went to the Roaring Horn Gala. Now that you knew you could teleport, you went straight down to, was it Waterdeep or Neverwinter? Where was the Roaring Horn?
Waterdeep.
It was Waterdeep. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You all went to, I don't know where my Waterdeep map is. Oh well, it's just a map of Waterdeep. You guys went to Waterdeep, and went to the Roaring Horn Gala. Which...
No, Neverwinter.
Was it Neverwinter?
Was it Neverwinter?
Yeah, I just looked up the recap.
Which the Roaring Horn Gala...
The end of this one was the greatest thing ever.
No, you're thinking of the end of the next session. This whole gala was 2 sessions long.
It was 2 sessions long.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
This is when the team learned don't leave Halfred and Bryce's together.
Yeah.
I can't believe we're going to have a whole scenario where it's just like this dinner party.
It's just a dinner party. I think I underestimated how long this would take. Like a bunch of social scenarios.
Yeah.
But also,
you broke it up into like one for every single person, like here too.
So each player had one bullshit social scenario that was like just people at a party type thing. Like some were more interesting than others. One of them was like a woman wanted to dance with Tim. One of them was someone was trying to get Corinne to help him hit on a woman.
Yeah. Wingman it up.
Yeah. I forget what other ones were there.
Halfred went up and talked to somebody and used his little grabber arm.
He did. Halfred was trying to seduce a woman with a grabber arm.
Wasn't he trying to seduce like the lady of the party, like
I think
the guy's
so.
wife
The guy's
or
wife or something. Yep.
Yeah.
And then you all had a significant encounter too.
Mm-hmm.
And the significant encounters were Tim. You met the dude who knew Timerius and who thought you sounded just like him. And he told you a story about Timerius, the cleric.
Didn't believe him.
Dismissed it immediately. Halfred got a note from the Wombat Man detailing what he was trying to do, going undercover with the Zentarum, the K Society. I don't remember what yours was, Kazan. Do you?
The case. It was.
Right. It was the
case-sided guy comes up and talks to me, and I fucking shove him out of the door.
That's right. Yours was the Scion. Yeah. Yours was the Scion. Bryce's, yours was the Zentarum Miri. Well, yours was meeting Miri and hearing about the Weevil's Inn, his hideout there in town. Corinne, you weren't there that session. So what I did is I literally said like, oh, you all see Corinne getting her palm read by this ASMR, but you don't hear what gets told. I'm trying to remember what it was, but it was essentially revealing to you that your ancestor, that you are somehow related to a blue thundercloud. Like it was ASMR was trying to read your palm and tell you like, oh, I can see your ancestors. And he talks about getting visions of a storm cloud, and he like roils back in pain. So it was trying to reveal that you are in fact a progenitor, or the Iamrith, the blue dragon cloud, is your progenitor.
Oh, okay, cool.
But you weren't here for that session, so you didn't get to hear that. But of those important encounters, you all really latched on to the fact that halfling archaeologist nerd was working for the Zentarum, for the Weevil, and that Scion thing. The fact that Kazan was approached by a Scion. And you guys went to town on those things. Kazan and Bryce's took the halfling into a bathroom.
No, me and Alfred.
Oh yeah. Bryce's and Halfred Yeah, you stripped him and beat him and just did terrible,
What?
terrible
We're
things.
heroes, damn it.
They got it was a halfling. It was a halfling who was just at the
I
party.
think at one point, didn't you said Corinne wasn't there last session? She came into this one, and we mentioned that to her, like in our opening line. I was like, "We have a halfling like naked and tied up in the bathroom."
in the bathroom. Yeah.
Like, what is going on?
They found out this halfling was working for the Weevil, and what they found out later is that he doesn't work for the Weevil. He was paid by the Weevil to like just get information at this party. He's just some nerd, like he's like an archaeology student or something. But they torture him anyway.
That'll teach him to work for the Weevil.
Yeah. And you get
God, that was like the greatest thing ever.
And you get the location of the Feral Hound, the inn/dogfighting ring where the Weevil is hanging out. Meanwhile, Kazan's having a straight up confrontation with a scion of the Kraken.
I like picked him up and pushed him out. I grappled him.
Yeah.
I rolled to grapple him, fished him up, pulled him out there, and then he was about to attack me. And then I suggested him. I cast suggestion.
Yeah.
And I mind controlled him and then told him to go back to where he came from.
Which, fun fact, I didn't have a map for that hallway outside of the gala. Like, this map was it. So I was like, well, if you guys have a combat encounter, I'm gonna have to just like have it happen in the gala map or find a hallway map or something. So, and
I was hoping I would get a follow-up that was like leading to like a dungeon or something. I was like, oh, you don't actually have.
I didn't have anything. and you told him to go back to his leader, and his leader was the Kraken. So he went down into the depths of the ocean, where his
jumped off this like giant cliff. And like, all right, well,
his leader is somewhere in the water. So either you can take that as either he was going to the Kraken, or you can take that as he was going to that pirate base that they were headquartered at. But either way, you guys couldn't follow him. But what's funny to me is that those two scenarios were happening simultaneously in the same hallway, like
that you didn't have
like feet apart, and it was just like Kazan, you're looking down the hallway, you see Corinne standing guard outside of a bathroom, and
just hearing a halfling scream.
Yeah, hearing a halfling scream from down the way.
That was a hilarious moment.
Yeah.
This whole thing took 2 sessions, and it was
two sessions, and it was just social encounters. That's what was encounters. But what you did get out of it is the location of the Feral Hound. Let's take a break here before I take you guys to the Feral Hound. We're gonna have to pick up the pace a little bit. We're at
24 sessions.
24 sessions. There's 65, so we're not quite halfway. But when we get to the later sessions, they're all like some huge dungeons, and we can sort of. There's not a whole lot to talk about what you guys didn't do on a lot of those. Yeah. All right. Let's take a quick break and be right back. break music fades out. Let me switch back over. One last time, I won't forget this last time.
You did a better job than I ever did in terms of the total package. There was some that we just lost material completely.
We just had fewer technical issues than we did on that first campaign too. Like I remember we had a lot of glitches with stuff, which we had some of that early on here. I think it's hard to remember like when we had really trouble like connecting to each other.
Our biggest one was the fact that we couldn't use Roll20 chat for the first half of the campaign. We had to use Skype.
Now, do you mean connecting to each other like emotionally?
We've always had that problem.
Yeah, that's an ongoing thing.
Still difficulties.
All right. So yeah, after talking to Mary, interrogating the poor halfling, you all went to the Feral Tavern. So just, if anyone's keeping track, there has been no campaign book material since Bryn Shander at this point.
Wow.
That's because this third act has no material. It has just a bunch of like, here's what's going. I pulled in
like the hippogriff thing.
But when I say material, I mean like maps and tokens and stuff. Like it's just text blocks.
Yeah.
But we're about to get back into some campaign book stuff. So the Feral Hound. Yeah, you guys. I believe Mary gave you the hint about the back door back here, which hilariously I think a few of you used, but not all of you.
Where we split the party big time, and it went just horrific.
It went real sideways because that back door isn't.
Why we did this.
The back door is a little bit like that Death's Widow spider back door, where you guys have to have a big fight, but if you get through that big fight, the front end, you get rewarded for it. Instead, I think three of you went down that back path and fought two fucking animated armors.
That would be all clever and like I think go in different ways and fight everybody. And then we went. The secret passageway ended up being like horribly guarded.
Yep. So they're at the end over here.
We're immune to spells.
Yeah.
I think I had like both spellcasters with me.
Yeah.
It was Tim and Halford at the front.
That's right.
As in Bryce's and Corinne in the back.
Tim and Alfred. I'm not sure that I will ever. Oh, yeah, you
muted.
Heather, you muted.
Oops.
I'm still not sure I understand what Tim and Halfred's plan was because
I don't know. He has these plans in his head that I can't follow.
Because the Weevil knew who you guys were. Like he had sent people to murder you, like in your sleep. So he knew your like descriptions. He knew who you were. And
to be fair,
Halford walks up to the front door like, "Hi, I'm a random."
Is the guy that wants to run the same con in every city after the cities have already told each other about this con.
Right.
But he wants to run the same con with everybody.
Well, to be fair, he had the halfling's clothes.
He did.
Halford was a halfling.
Yeah,
so.
That's right. So he thought that being dressed as the archaeologist nerd and coming in with Tim somehow they wouldn't be recognized. But the Weevil immediately, like, in my head I was laughing because Halford went up to that front door and knocked. He's like, "I'm whatever his name was. I'm here to see the Weevil." And in my head, I might have rolled something like an insight check or something, and he did fine. And in my head, I was like, "All right, that guy's going downstairs, going into the Weevil's office, and saying, 'Hey, Weevil, we got Halford and Tim out front. What should we do with them?'" So, what they did with you is they went along with your ruse. They took you down to the bottom floor, where the actual dogfighting went on, and they surrounded you. Like the entire dungeon, this entire place, just converged into one room. And I think at this point,
we were fighting like two separate battles.
Yeah, this whole thing was two different scenarios. Halford and Tim, and the three spellcasters fighting the magic immune animated armors. And I think what happened at some point is that the Weevil decided that he was going to take Tim and Halfred prisoner. He was going to put you in these cells up here at the north. But
Waiting for the
as
rest
he was doing that, I think the fight broke out in this room over here, which the wall's very thin. So like fireballs and lightning bolts and shit were coming from that room. So that triggered the fight. So you guys, me putting Tim and Halford in the cells was gonna be like mercy from the DM. Like I'm not gonna murder you. You're surrounded by enemies. I'm gonna have them take you prisoner instead. But then the other three started a fight in the room next door with some constructs, and that triggered everybody. And it led to this very long, protracted battle that started down here and moved to the first floor. People flying around, there were fog clouds.
There was a funny scene of Halfred lifting
That's right.
up.
Lifting him out of that bottom room. Yep.
When did he get the boots of flying then? Because he had that for this fight.
Maybe that was the Aboleth. Because there was some like I seem to remember there was some like real good reward for the Aboleth thing, but I don't remember what it was.
Because he was definitely I remember that specifically because they had to roll like a strength check to pull Tim up. And
Right.
He pulled him up from the bottom.
Yeah,
floor,
out of
into the first. Shot a fog cloud down there.
Yeah.
He like crit rolled it or something.
Yeah. So that was a fun scenario that you guys. I mean, you guys handled a lot of scenarios like very sneakily and infiltrating and all that.
As good as we did, like Zentaro.
Yeah,
we bungled
this one was just a clusterfuck. But you survived. You killed everybody.
That's the footnote on all of our encounters.
You survived and you killed everybody.
Yep. At least
Technically, we didn't kill everybody because we captured the Weevil, much to my disappointment.
Right.
We did.
But
I wanted to kill him.
I mean, I would have had trouble had you killed him because I was hoping the wanted poster was going to be enough. Or the wanted poster was dead or alive, so I don't know how I thought this was going to go. But the Weevil had the information on the main quest.
Yeah, you straight up roleplayed it that way. Like, I can help you find information.
Oh, that's right. I actually had him say it. Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, he had information. He had information on the main quest, which the information he had was information he was gathering for Iamrith in a roundabout manner. That she knew that the Eye of the Allfather could like out her or be of aid to the giants, so she was trying to find the things that would be needed at the Eye of the Allfather and sort of shut that shit down. But he offered to betray her and give you guys the information, which he never actually knew Iamrith. I think the separation was very sort of broad. But he offered to give you guys the information instead on the ancient giant sites where there were these relics that would be needed to awaken the Eye of the Allfather to get the information about this threat. So you guys did 3 in a row, like quick succession.
Well, first we went and dropped the Weevil off.
Oh yes, you did. You dropped the Weevil off with Miri to be under lock and guard because he now, quotes, worked for you. And he said he would go find more information, which I think the way I played that is that because of that, he did provide you like one really useful piece of information, and then he escaped. So it was like it wasn't all bad that you did that. It was like I wanted to give you something for
like the other sites or something.
Right. So
I still think we should have killed him.
I mean, you probably could have found. I would have just had you. You would have had to like, I don't know, find out about these locations some other way. So the first stop on your ancient Asturian relic site tour, mid-level 7. All right, yeah, was the grandfather tree. Now we're back on the campaign stuff. These big maps of the locations. There's one for this one, Biren as well. Can't remember the other ones. Morgar's Mound.
And Raven Rock.
And there's 3 others. There's 7 in total, but the campaign book kind of leaves it open on how many you want to use and whether your people need all of them. the way these are used in the campaign book is fucking dumb. You go to the Eye of the Allfather first. You go to the Eye of the Allfather. You get in to see the Oracle. The Oracle tells you have to prove yourselves by gathering however many giant artifacts and bringing them back to him.
Wow.
And these are the locations of those giant artifacts. And there's no dungeons associated with any of those. All the dungeons associated with each of these places, I put in. It's just these maps. So in this one, it's something buried underneath the tree. And there's dryads and centaurs. And instead of having just be something buried under a tree, I added a maze.
So the ghost one.
The ghost maze. Which you guys can zoom out and actually see the whole maze so you can see how you did. But
This fucking map.
Yep. This was really fun for me, but I don't think it was very fun for you guys. Because I had all these...
got to play around with these stupid ghosts that can whip around and hit us.
Yep.
Couldn't do shit.
Yep. But you had to make your way through this maze. And the idea was that these ghosts were sort of put at dead ends. So every time you guys got to a dead end, you would activate another ghost, basically. Like, you'd come around, the first couple that you saw, you'd, come around a corner, there'd be a ghost, facing away from you, and it would, notice you, and it'd run off, and then that ghost was part of the attack cycle.
That, and then Halfred's little carvings into the tree. GCC was here.
Yep.
There's some creepy sound effects this one, too.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. I had a lot of fun with this. Making ghosts and ghost sounds. And then at the end was a stone giant ghost, it was actually a wrath giant, which is another just made up character. I found some website about how to turn NPCs into different types of things. Like say you've got a Manticore, but you want to make it a zombie Manticore. Okay, do this to it. So in this case, I found a wraith, and there was a thing on how to make things giants. So I was like, okay, I'm going to make a wraith giant. So that's what this thing was. And the reward, once again, this is not in, this is kind of in the campaign book, but not in the way I did it. The campaign book has these relics, these rune magic items, but they are not the items of importance. The things you gather for the Eye of the Allfather from these sites in the book are just things. It's just like a spear of an old giant fighter. It's not magical, it's just a giant spear. So instead, I put the rune artifacts in here this way.
Oh, okay.
So that was that one. Then you guys went to Bioruna's Well.
Some of these were ass far away. I think one of these we teleported and then...
Yeah, I'm skipping all the travel, because, I mean, at some point in this campaign, the travel just became...
There wasn't any more encounters after that.
Yeah.
Those first 20 or so that long thing, we pretty much exhausted, our patience.
All the road encounters, yeah.
On the road encounters, yeah.
Which I think may have been another reason why I kind of railroaded you into getting the hippogriffs, because I didn't want to continue doing road encounters.
Yeah.
And the hippogriffs are a good way to sort of skirt that. Like, you guys are never on the road, you're just flying around.
Yep.
So Bioruna's Well was, there was a Manticore over here in the spring that Halfred...
This one, we spent a long time trying to figure out how to approach this one.
Yes.
We had all you presented us with all the information because we started on the top.
Yeah.
And we had all this perception checks and everything. And for the longest time, we just did not know how to fucking go about
Right. This. There were a bunch of barbarians over here in the tents. You didn't...
Because Halfred's sensing ability fucked us up a lot because we knew more information.
Yeah. Which, at some point in this campaign, it wasn't yet, I realized I had been doing Halfred's thing wrong, and I should not have been telling him what he sensed.
Yeah.
His thing does not tell him that there's a Manticore down there. It just tells him that there's a monstrosity.
Yep.
But, so you guys end up doing the monstrosity first, dragging that out, and, shooting it before... I don't think it got barely any attacks off before you killed it. It was midair. I think you shot it with a bunch of shit and then fireball it, and it fell into the ground. And then you saw some barbarians down there in the middle portion. And I think you guys were going to go try to talk to them. And as you flew down, they tried to hypnotic pattern you to make you crash.
Yes.
And I don't think that worked on anyone. But this was probably my favorite wild magic moment, where Bryce has turned herself into a potted plant and fell into the snow.
While riding Hippogriff and fell down. Yep. That's true.
Yep.
Which was the best combination of events that could have happened in that scenario, because she was flying way high, and she turned into a potted plant and fell off her Hippogriff into a pile of snow.
Yeah.
I did get one really good fireball off first, though.
You did, yes. I think that may have been what did it. If I remember correctly, because you killed a bunch of the barbarians with one fireball.
Well, you had them all conveniently grouped together.
I mean, they were all yeah.
Yep. And then I became a potted plant.
That's right.
You had a string of bad ones, and we'll go over that towards the end. I have all the stats of your wild magic. Funny. Level 7, all 4 of your wild magics that you had throughout the sessions were bad ones.
Were bad.
Yeah.
And then you guys fought the zombie of Biruna himself.
Oh my god.
Which was that was a boss fight where I got to pull my shit. Like I really got to go to town with that one.
You annihilated Tim twice in that fight, as I recall.
Yeah.
We bounced him up, and then the next attack you did some AoE attack that put him right back down. We're like, what the fuck?
And that was, I told you, Eric, at some point that you guys never actually fought a storm giant, but you did. This was a straight up storm giant.
Straight up storm giant.
But he was weakened because he was also a zombie. There's like his zombies, like it's that same template where you can zombify something.
Really low armor class.
Really low armor class. I think the only thing they get is that if they get killed, they get undead fortitude. So it kind of weakens them that way. But other than that, he had all the storm giant stuff, all his like electric stomp and all sorts of shit.
Yep, it was nasty.
Yep.
And Tim crippled his leg again.
That's yeah. Then you guys left, and
same leg.
Same. Why leg? You guys passed back through Hawk's Nest for some reason. I can't remember why. It may have just been geography. But you encountered some bounty hunters who were hunting a dragon.
This one felt like a random encounter, but then as it went on, I was like, oh wait, he's actually got like a scripted encounter for it.
And you guys, I really like the way you guys did this one too. You guys went with the bounty hunters to help them and proceeded to sabotage their effort.
Yeah, that's right.
So that when Felglos...
They were hunting the dragon we knew the dragon.
Yep. So when Felglos did show up, when they finally got to him, you guys had, like, crippled their crossbows or something. You would like, kind of shut them down, and they thought you were there to help them, too. So they were...
turned on them in the middle of that
you
fight.
turned on them in the middle of the fight.
That was nifty.
Yeah. And then Felglos asked for your help in the desert. This is another straight up, like the Aboleth one, this is a straight up DM's Guild adventure. This one's called The Flying Misfortune. And it's all about Felglos, and you get to, pair with him and go into Asgore, and you guys did.
This one was really cool, too. Fighting dragons and like running away from them and trying to like loot all this crap as soon as we could.
This is the map I think I spent the most time making myself, because the original map, I don't know if you guys can actually see the line. The original map is just these buildings on the left side. Everything else, the ships and that barrier of logs and all that shit, I added onto it to sort of build this. Because these DM Guilds adventures, they don't actually have maps most of the time. They have like rough sketches of what it should be.
Yeah.
But anyway, so the full first session in Asgore, you guys spent sneaking into this place. You guys did a real good job of just staying low. These blue dragons were high in the sky, sort of playing around up there.
Were these young blue dragons or adult ones? I think it was young.
They were between the two. Because at some point, when I was building this, I was balancing them. Because you guys were over-leveled for where this actual adventure was. So I was like, all right, I'll move them up from young to adult. I did that, and I was like, oh, this is way too tough. Like looking at the numbers, I was like, oh, adult blue dragons are way tougher. So I think I made them adult blue dragons, but took away their like hardcore abilities, like the frightful presence and
young adult.
They're young adult, yeah, young adult dragons. So yeah, They were in between. But after that first session, I think what did I do here that I felt kind of bad about? Oh, I made up a rule about dragons knowing when their treasure is fucked with. That's what I did. Because that's not a thing. But I didn't want you guys to get out of there just scot-free.
This is too easy.
So I think I had.
That's what we get for doing such a good job sneaking in.
I think I had Fogalos tell you, like, when you guys start fucking with their treasure, they're gonna know.
Yeah.
So you guys
we had a timed it. We were like, all right, snatch the best thing of every file.
Yep.
Fucking run
you guys planned this to a T. Like, you had people at each treasure, because each ship belongs to a different dragon.
Yep.
And you had a person in each ship. And you had it all planned out. You'd killed all the Dragos. You'd kill the carrion crawlers down in the ship. Which I can show you the inside of that ship real quick. But then when you actually started to run away, it all kind of went to hell. And it turned into a fight anyway. This was the inside of the ship.
Yeah.
Which, if you can tell, dynamic lighting. The dynamic lighting is the only thing hiding the fact that this is actually just a ship that I just put a bunch of that I put a bunch of sand on.
Yeah, that's funny.
And yeah, it turned into a big ass fight. Which I honestly was not prepared for that. I thought you guys would run. Like, I thought you guys were going to, like, leave. But at some point you're like, fuck it, let's fight.
Yeah. This happens when we play Heroes of the Storm too. Whenever we like get close to a team fight, we're like, oh, let's turn around and keep fighting.
Yeah.
I think it happened at one point. They got close enough, and Halford like shot one. It's like, oh shit, the fight's on.
Yeah, the fight's on. Time to go.
Turn around and fight. We did have Felgolos on our team, so we
you
did
did
have a fucking bronze dragon on our side.
Yep. And here's the thing I will tell you that actually has an important thing to play at the end. I thought, as a DM, that giving a dragon permanent disadvantage would gimp them significantly. It doesn't really. Because dragons, their attack rolls are still super fucking high.
Yeah.
Like, so even with a disadvantage, Felgolos is a beast.
Felgolos an adult?
He is an adult.
Okay.
Yeah, so you guys wrecked that shit. Then you left. And you had an encounter in the tunnels with Iamrith. This was just sort of a flavor sort of scenario.
I like these though.
Yeah.
With the villain.
Where I think I was slowly revealing to you guys that yes, this is the villain is in fact a blue dragon.
Yeah.
And this was one of the major clues where she
knows about it.
Yeah, that she knows. Now, I think this in this specific encounter, I had her like say like, I've got my eyes on you now. Like before this, she didn't really know who you guys were. But killing her children brought her attention. Then you all moved on to Morgar's Mound. Where I think you kind of fucked up my plans here, because you guys spotted, there were some Warforged here that you all spotted early on. They were supposed to ambush you in the caves. But you spotted them and like tracked them down before even going into the mine. It was one, I don't have that map anymore, but it was just grass because you guys did it. It was one Warforged mage and a bunch of just like stone golem dudes. So you killed them and then you went into the cave. Which I don't know if this is the first time you met Harshnag. I'm trying to remember. I think it might be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, probably.
But he was too big to go into the caves. So you went down into it.
Oh yeah, spiders everywhere.
Yeah. Old abandoned mine. There was a Cambion at the end. Which was kind of an interesting fight, because I'm trying to remember. He tried to use like, or no, you suggested something on him, because his whole thing is like, he wants to get out of there with the artifact, so he's like pretending to be this other dude. He's illusioning it. This
was all you, right? All this
dungeon, yeah. Like I said,
this character and everything is all you too, like.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not Harshnag, but this Cambion is.
So literally, when you go to Morgan's Mountain in the campaign, it's just you go into this tunnel and find the artifacts.
Exactly.
automatically?
It's just a bunch of it's
damn.
just a bunch of dug up. It's a dug up hill, and you can dig in there. I think there might be some creatures that attack you, but if they do, it's on that overland map without any grids. And I don't know.
Yeah.
I really didn't care for the non-gridless or non-grid combat.
Yeah. Just turned all these into little dungeons.
Yep, turn them all into little dungeons. This is the smallest of them. This was just like pretty much 3 encounters: spiders, a bunch of little baby demons, and the Cambion himself. The baby demons, I made those guys up, and I was so proud of them. And then you guys just fucking murdered them without any trouble.
As we do.
They were little screaming little babies. And they were supposed to like disrupt your spellcasting because they like scream and like you couldn't concentrate. But you killed them real easily.
Yeah, they're pretty easy.
Yeah. And then you killed this Cambion and knocked him down into this pit. And I think Halford had to fly down to actually get the artifact because he was wearing it. And then you guys went to Raven. I'm skipping something.
No, you're right.
Oh no, okay. You guys went to Mirabar. There was something about Mirabar being attacked. I don't remember exactly what that was about. And then you guys took a sailing. That's because I enjoyed that bit. You guys sailed up the river to this place, to Raven Rock. This was the bit where Tim decided to play 5-finger fillet with sailors and cut one of their fingers off.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
Wow. That's true. Made level 8.
Yeah, made level 8, sailed up a river, went to Raven Rock. You guys spent an inordinate amount of time freaking out about those birds on these raven roosts who were nothing. They were just going to fly away whenever you approached. But I feel like a solid half hour was spent like, what are those birds? What are they going to do? What should we do?
That's the weirdest thing as a DM perspective is whenever the players freak out about something that's a non-thing.
Yeah.
And then whenever they waltz into something that's like
That's a horrible thing.
You're just like, oh, dude.
They misjudged this entirely.
Yep.
Yeah. And then there was a real simple puzzle to get into Raven Rock. You had to like 3 people be at each of the like these menhirs. And then it opens up into a cloud giant library.
This is the one with the zappy statues.
The zappy statues, yes. So you guys come in, and both Corinne and Bryce just find out that fiends and dragons are not allowed. Yeah, are not allowed in there. Which you guys end up using later. But you go in, you talk to some talking books. They sort of tell you that this is an old cloud giant library. I forget, they both had the same name, and that was very confusing for them, if I remember correctly. And they tell you about the place. The place has, which I can actually just pull up all these.
God, we were here for 3 sessions.
This was a bigger dungeon. There was a lot going on here.
Yeah, it was.
The left and right side were just puzzles. They were straight up.
From the
No.
campaign? Really?
This is this once again. This is the base map is this. This is the same guy who made the Xanthar's Keep map. It's the same dude.
It's another cool map. Man.
Yeah, I forget his name. People who have questions, comment on the YouTube video and I'll answer. But yeah, he's got some great maps. So I made some puzzles based on the runes on the left and right side to get into the rooms.
Yeah, these were cool puzzles.
Which the puzzles then revealed what more of the runes meant for the top puzzle, which I like that you guys drew on the map up here about how to walk around. Oh no! Before that, at some point while you guys are doing it's on the left side. When you guys are doing the left side puzzle, Kazan and Halford get into a fight and activate.
What happened here? I forgot what it was, but
You guys-
Halford just walked.
he triggered the trap, didn't he? And
Yeah.
then I got beat the fuck up from the
tree
that came up.
Yeah. So this silver tree in the middle spawns tree spawn.
Yeah.
as a defense mechanism.
And I got to use my awesome spell Blight, which took one out in one
That's
go.
right. Yeah. Very few plant-based enemies in this campaign, but these were two of them.
One of them fucked me up when I got mad and then tried to throw
Halford
onto
onto
the next one, and we just little like matched like strength checks. I think.
Yeah, you just that's right, because then everyone else just walked past you as you two just locked arms.
We're just like having this little like just fucking teenage fight over here.
Yep. Yeah, so after that, then you guys went up to the north, solved this puzzle. The left one's the only one you guys activated. The right one is a lightning damage. Top one is like a death damage, but you didn't activate either one of those. And then you got up into the top, and you found the Guardian of the Library, which was a living spellbook, which is basically just a high-level caster.
Halford set it on fire.
Halford set it on fire, which is really effective. Yep. You grabbed the artifact, which I believe was some sort of scarf or something, if I remember correctly. We'll talk about this later, but we'll talk about it later. Then you went to leave. Oh, that's right, because Halford's alarm spell started going off at the entrance, which let you know that cloud giants were there. You didn't know they're cloud giants. But you guys reconned, found out cloud giants were there, and then Halford proceeded to do a little one-act play where he played both books and told the cloud giants that you all were dead and that they just need to come down and collect your corpses. And then Bryces and Corinne got behind each of the statues to activate them to cause the laser beams when the cloud giants walked through.
Mm-hmm.
Which is all very clever.
Thank you.
The whole scenario. Yeah. And probably the best case scenario there, because when you guys go outside, you see that there's a cloud giant ship incoming from a couple miles away, and then Klaus' airship picks you up. The thing is, if you guys go outside without if you guys face two cloud giants apropos of nothing, you need help. That's a bad fight. So Klaus' airship is incoming to help you in case the cloud giants start doing too much damage. But you didn't need them for that, because you lured them into a trap and killed them. So you did that. You left this place, went to Klaus' cave on his airship.
The Great Klaus. Great and mighty.
Had a conversation with him. I can't remember. He told you to do something. He actually didn't really tell you to do much. He wanted you to just keep doing what you were doing. Go to the Eye of the Allfather.
Like, continue the main quest.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
I think that was. I'm trying to remember why I did it that way. I think it's so that you guys wouldn't be surprised when he showed up later.
I mean, logistically, he had an airship, so you could us off and pick us up at some places.
That may have been part of it. Yeah. But yeah, that Kazan got totally succumbed to Klaus' will, and never really got over it, I guess. Let's see. Ravenride, great.
Was that part of the campaign too, or was that just one of those like if the
Klaus' airship is in the campaign book? Yes.
Okay.
I think they rescue you at a different point, but they are definitely like getting picked up by his airship, getting taken to him. That's all part of his thing, part of the story. This map isn't. There's a token for Klaus. There's no map for Klaus' lair. Yeah. So
you almost don't even need one though, because
it's just a
socializing.
Before you guys went to the Eye of the Allfather, though, you went to, or maybe you needed to go here to get another artifact.
I think we needed one more artifact.
Yeah. You went to the Great Worm Cavern, where we pick up on Corinne's side quests, where you guys encounter some white dragonborn taking shelter in the cave. This was a funny scenario where you sent an animal in there to get killed.
Yep.
In your stead.
My poor yak.
The poor yak. That's right, the flying yak. He was flying. I forgot about that. He flew in, got pelted with arrows, and then you made peace with the white dragonborn who were in there. And then you found out that some blue dragonborn had gone crazy, basically. And that you needed to stop them. And you also heard the voice of a Coatl over here who asked you to save these white dragonborn from the blue. So you all went. So this is one where technically I did add a dungeon to this map, but it's a totally different location. Like, because the Dragonborn camp is something of a dungeon. So you guys all went to the Dragonborn camp. This is another one where you guys spent a lot of time deciding how to approach this. You devised an elaborate plan involving writing a love note wrapped around a rock that Halford would drop in front of a guard.
I wasn't here for this.
No.
That's what
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was horribly out with the flu this week.
That's right. And then Corinne would convince that poor guard.
Okay, this is my favorite.
She made
So-
like you like critted like a charisma check or something on
I
this
think so. Yeah, I
on
did.
this poor guard because he was like, "What's going on?" And he and he
Yeah.
fell in love with you.
Yeah. It's great. It was just like real life.
And you convinced him to go gather a bunch of the other blue dragonborn, which was straight up half the camp. And you all, with half the camp, marched into Raijin, who was the leader of this group, marched into his tent with T-Rex. Bryce was a T-Rex at the time.
Bye.
You march up to his tent. It happens. It's an occasional thing.
I wasn't the T-Rex. I was riding the T-Rex. This is when you came back with the rule after y'all discussed it at PAX, where I wasn't there, about how I couldn't change things into levels higher than them. So because I was using my little furry ball animal things.
Right.
Yeah.
And then we discovered you couldn't do that. Yeah. That was the what was Talos' thing? Counterspell.
Yeah.
that eventually we just like that's not how it works.
Eventually, I started to change myself into the T-Rex.
Right.
Yeah.
So you confronted Raijin, and Corinne ended up in a duel with him for control of the entire tribe. Which I believe was supposed to be tougher than it ended up being, like a lot of these scenarios. It was like, oh, this is a one-on-one fight. They're going to try to buffer and, all that jazz.
It was not that hard.
It wasn't that hard. And I even gave him a couple spells that I thought would be really useful. He had Absorb Elements, which he did use, but it ended up not helping him too much. So she took out Raijin. I think you also pulled out your horn and like blasted your horn at some point.
Oh, yeah,
like you were using shit on this guy and he wasn't prepared for that.
No rules in this fight.
Yep. And then an advisor to Raijin revealed himself to be one of the Warforged. And he had no compunction about, the honoring the results of the duel. And he summoned a bunch of ice golems to fight you all. So and thankfully you already had a T-Rex on hand, which was helpful. I remember this fight though. Rochelle getting kind of bummed because so many Dragonborn were dying in this fight.
It was horrible. Yeah, I felt very guilty.
She had just gotten control of the tribe, and they were getting massacred by ice golems. But the ones that did survive, Tim saved a couple after the fact too. If I remember correctly, he brought a few.
Really?
Yeah. Brought a few back.
Huh.
You all moved on to the Eye of the Allfather after that. Oh, you took some of the blue dragonborn back, put them in the cave with the white dragonborn, and told them to procreate.
Brought, like 2 of them with us or something.
Yeah, because they guided you to the Eye of the Allfather.
Yeah.
And then you came to what I believe is the biggest map in the game. The Eye of the Allfather is...
Look at how tiny it is. Oh my lord.
Eye of the Allfather is giant. I mean, now you're in places that are designed for giants, so even normal hallways have to be 3 squares wide. So, first thing you guys did is right at the entrance, you had a big-ass fight. Because you were supposed to meet Harshnag prior to this, and you didn't.
Yeah, it's right here.
Yeah, and then when you came to the Eye of the Allfather, you found that he had been captured by, I think it was Frost Giants, I think.
Yep.
And they had 2 stone giants with them.
2 stone giants with them, yeah.
And there was a big-ass fight, and there was a big scenario beforehand where you guys tried to, stealthily free Harshnag using silence and invisibility, getting in behind him.
Yep.
Which is, once again, really clever.
Like Wicked Mind.
Yeah.
All,
That was really neat, and it saved you guys a lot of pain because it let Harshnag join that fight.
Yeah.
Which I think, because he was unarmed, I think what they ended up doing is taking one of the Frost Giants out of the fight. Because Harshnag just tackled him and was off in a fog cloud, just duking it. This is also the start of my DM frustration with the spell Fog Cloud. Fog Cloud is a fucking terrible spell. It fucks everything up so
Nerf
bad.
it even more.
I will.
It's bad because the game never defines how it works.
And it makes combat slow to a slog because you can't see, people can't see each other, and it's
worded, it just does not. It's very ill defined on what it actually means.
But you finish that fight, rescue Harshnag, head over here to the statue room, where I will talk about this now. The rune magic was a big thing in this campaign, and you guys did not give a shit about it. Like, you guys were unimpressed with every single one of those rune magic items. I was like, oh, okay, well, I'm gonna stop giving them then.
I can meld into stone. Hooray!
I mean, granted, a lot of them were dumb. Yeah. But nobody ever transcribed the runes. Like, they all had like secondary abilities that you could like put them on something else, and you guys never did that. So at this point, when you guys gave up all of them, I was like, all right, I'm not giving you any more. There's like 4 or 5 more in the campaign. I was like, I'm replacing them with something else. They don't like these.
Okay.
So.
Well, Corinne kept hers.
Yes, you did.
I used it a couple times.
You did. Yeah. The horn actually ended up being useful. I think you even used the horn to get in here too, because this door was frozen, and you blasted the door open with it. But the rest of you traded it for one random, or it wasn't random, it was based on what giant it was, stat point, which was basically you gifting it to a god. And then you went up to the north into the barracks.
5 sessions.
Yeah, this is the longest you guys ever spent in one location.
Yep.
It's a big area. It's a big ass place.
Yeah.
And if you scroll up to the north, there's fucking nothing in this dungeon. Like these barracks are all empty. It's just a whole bunch of nothing. That's all they are. They're barracks with beds in them, and that's it. So, and I believe Corinne actually split, which thankfully there was nothing in this second level. I was afraid, like I was the time you were up there, Rochelle, I was like, if I had even one monster up there, Corinne would be in trouble, but I have nothing up there. So.
Oh, because we had to find.
You had to find. They were missing weapons. Yep.
Yeah, that's right. I remember that.
So she found a club up there in the second story, or the second floor of the barracks. Then you guys went into the Arcanumite tunnels, which, by the way, though these are just spider tunnels, but I liked Arcanumites better, so I replaced all the spiders with Arcanumites.
Right.
I thought spiders were boring. And you guys spent an entire session in these Arcanumite tunnels. I don't think there was any plot reason for you to be in here. I don't think there was any. There was what you did get out of this place was the blasting hammer, which Tim did a lot of work with later.
Sure did. Was that something you came up with?
Regret that.
You know what I regret? I regret my wording. My wording. What I meant to do with the hammer was it deals 10d10 damage to the ground. And then anyone who's around rolls the dex saving throw. If they fail the saving throw, they take half of the 10d10. If they miss the saving throw, they take no damage. But I don't think I worded it that way. I fucked up the wording, so they took all 10d10 damage if they missed the saving throw. So that blasting hammer was twice as powerful as I think I intended.
Wow. Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
It was pretty awesome.
We had no problems keeping it like.
No, you didn't.
Stopped using it towards the end because I felt bad.
Well, I remember that we thought the ammunition would be the limiter because it was like.
It was like very early on. Like you had like 3 of them or something. But then the very next time you guys went to town, you bought a whole bunch.
Yeah, Halford gave me a bunch.
So it became a non-issue real quick. Then you guys went to the south to the dining hall.
Monster down here.
Where you fought a.
There was that monster that controlled Harshnag at one point.
It was an orb. Yeah, and I'm surprised. So, you guys understanding the mechanics of that orb, I was fully expecting you to take it, because anybody who comes within 15 feet of that orb gets mind control and starts attacking themselves. So I was expecting you guys to figure out a way to like scoop that orb up or cover it up and take it with you. But you just said fuck that orb and knocked it away and just left. Like, all right.
We didn't want to get anywhere near that thing. It was scary.
Yeah. And it was an ooze too. I forget what the ooze was. Everything get kind of moved around in here later on when I was moving stuff from the map, but so it's fought an ooze. Just threw away a magic orb that made people kill themselves. You went up, did the puzzle here with the runes around the archway.
Oh my god, that puzzle!
You guys liked a lot of the puzzles. I don't think you liked this puzzle. I don't know what it was about this particular one, but it was just sort of like, yeah, okay, we gotta do it.
Up at least twice.
Twice.
We'd, run out of the room.
I think that may have been it. Yeah, the fact that it's a huge ass room and you had to leave because bad stuff was happening. One of them fills the room with a storm cloud.
Mm-hmm.
But eventually, Bryce is the only one that's stuck around in the room. He's like, I'll finish the puzzle. And then you guys got in to talk to the Oracle in here. And the Oracle, what did the Oracle tell you? He gave you a quest. Oh, he told you this is where you had to pick one of 6.
Giants.
What you needed was a conch of teleportation. Yep. The Oracle told you
we had to go to the Maelstrom, and in order to go to the Maelstrom, we had to have the conch from one of the head giants.
Yep. This is a real bummer because there are straight up 6 dungeons. There are 6 full-size dungeons you guys could have gone to. And the campaign just asks you to choose one.
That's wild. That it gives you that much content. Like, oh, by the way, your players are only going to see 1/6 of this content.
Yep. And I had already decided because Countess Sansuri of the Cloud Giants has a dragon captured. Like some random ass young dragon. I had already decided way earlier that was Felgalos. And then after the fact, after this
set, not be Felgalos.
Exactly.
Not do that?
Exactly. Yeah.
Felgalos early on and then none.
Right. Wow. So because of that, after I told you that information, in hindsight, I was like, I didn't really give them a choice. Yeah. It's like something you have an emotional stake in, and 5 other random bullshit. Like,
that was literally how we looked at it too. We're like, well, we have a choice of any of these. We might as well do the one that we can save a friend in.
Yep. The only other one that you guys even came close to choosing was the Frost Giants, and that's just because you had done Frost Giant stuff. You had dealt with them the most previously.
Yep. I think we asked at one point, if we would know the location of the others.
Yes,
weird thing,
and
just in case.
For the entire last half of the campaign, you knew where Svardborg was. You just, I mean, it wasn't. You didn't need to go there at all.
Yeah,
there's no reason. So then, sorry, what?
Which one would you have liked us to go to, or do you have any preference?
I do have some preferences. The Stone Giant one's very cool. Fire Giant one's very cool. Hill Giant's dumb. What are the other ones? Frost is okay. Frost is a bunch of like icebergs with lodges, so it's not one dungeon. It's a bunch of islands. I'm not entirely sure how you're supposed to get from one to the next, but some of them don't look good. Like you guys know how the Grand Dame with that map looks like, where it looks like a hand drawn map.
Sketch.
Some of these big ass dungeons look like that, and I look at them. I'm like, I don't know, that's a long time to spend in a dungeon that just doesn't look like a real location. But Cloud Giant one was very cool though. I liked that one. So I was not displeased that you guys chose the Cloud Giants.
Felt like the most exotic too.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so playing this guy.
The Stone Giants are a cavern underground. The Fire Giants are a mountainside fortress where they're working forges. Hill Giants are just a fucking fort on a hill. Hill Giants are the dumbest of the giants, and I think you guys recognize that pretty quickly. Yeah. And then you left. Oh, you tried to leave, and were confronted with Iamrith. This is the first time you guys actually laid eyes on her. I moved all the tokens all got moved here somewhere. When I unarchived this, it all got fucked up. But anyway, yeah, it's the first time you guys actually laid eyes on Iamrith, as she sort of knew.
I resisted her fear. Stood the ground with Harshnag.
Eric, I was mad at you during all that. I was like, fucking leave, dude. How many DM clues can you get that you're supposed to leave?
I must sacrifice myself.
This campaign, which it wouldn't, but I was thinking, this campaign could end right now if you decide to stay and fight and die to this dragonborn.
Everybody else was leaving.
Everyone else.
I'm not leaving you, Harshnag. I honestly expected you to have Harshnag turn around and knock me out, headbutt me or pick me up and throw me or something like action packed.
I think
instead of
Eric froze. Instead, Eric froze. Oh, he dropped
the best part is I can still hear him talking downstairs.
He doesn't know. Yeah, instead, Harshnag broke the statue of Anam, the Allfather, in the middle here, and that caused the entire temple to go into self-destruct mode, which basically made you guys
sorry, my internet freaked out.
yeah, which basically made you guys evacuate immediately because the whole temple was crumbling. And that was Harshnag's way of getting you to leave. Was I'm gonna self-destruct this temple. So you guys ran out through the Arcanumite tunnels, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And then Klaus
came from this way.
Yeah, Klaus' airship was there to pick you up. Because Klaus was keeping an eye on you.
How convenient.
And you returned to Klaus, where this time Klaus did have stuff to give you. He had clues and bits of information about all of you to give you in the meanest way he possibly could. Where he basically just taunts you with it.
Just a dick.
The big one, though, is the location of Tim's cabin. I think the rest of them were we're just kind of mean, him telling Kazan that the whole order has been killed or turned. Him telling Corinne that the Blue Dragons are under the control of the Iamrith. Yeah, he was just being mean. So then you all went to the cabin in the woods.
Level 9.
Level 9.
We gotta pick it up, man. It's getting close to me.
Oh, it is. Yeah. All right. I'll rush through some of this stuff. Cabin in the woods. You guys had a spider fight, warforged fight, frogmen fight. I really like the frogmen fight. That was really good. Where you guys?
That was we tried to do our best to socialize our way through that encounter too. Let's figure out exactly what we need to do and pull
exactly.
And not let it eat us.
And you guys ended up getting away without actually killing any of them. You just.
And this was all 100% all of your doing.
This is all
character based.
Yep.
Throwing this map together.
Then you guys picked up the Golden Fields quest that you'd had forever. The Golden Fields, like I said, was one where that could have been one of the starting cities. But instead I turned it into this quest. You met a bunch of people that, if you had done this as an early, the starting city, these would have been people that you controlled. Mm-hmm. But instead they were just NPCs that were there. You all went to pick up Denala, where you had to fight some monstrosities.
Are you surprised that we went back and did this quest?
Yes, I had put it on the shelf. I thought you guys would never bring it back.
Mentally, I did too. I think we were just like in the area for some reason.
Yeah.
Like, let's go ahead and take care of this.
Yep. And it's probably a good thing you did, because the way you guys approached this siege fight was like to take them all on from the back, where you sort of flanked them. And this was one fight that lasted an entire session, I believe. It was just one.
We had a shit ton of experience from this.
Yes. You killed a whole bunch of hill giants, Nasher, a whole bunch of orcs, bugbears, goblins.
I remember this one was specifically neat because this one really felt like we had come a long way. Like, okay, now that we were afraid of like the siege back in the early game, and now we can just come in, ride in like fucking heroes, and just start tearing shit up.
I will say is one of the like stated goals of Storm King's Thunder. Storm King's Thunder's intention is to make you feel weak at the starting city, to sort of like, hey, look at how fucking tough giants are. Like, these things are beasts. And then later on in the campaign, sort of have you guys feel powerful because you're getting up to their level.
Yeah. This was a neat scenario for that.
Yeah. Then you moved on to the Pirate Cave, which you guys didn't have a whole lot of trouble with this entire dungeon. This was
it as one big encounter.
You did. You just never stopped rolling through it.
We just kept going in and activating rooms of guys.
Yep.
Tearing them up.
Pirates.
I think we fought the entire inner cave as one encounter.
Yeah. Yeah. Which those guys aren't tough, but you guys really did roll through them. You fought the Kraken spawn at the end. Then you moved on to Lin Armal.
Captured Italia.
You did capture Italia. And, okay, I made one, like, nice magic item for each player in my campaign, and Kazan proceeded to smash his to make a point.
I did. Well, I thought that was gonna fucking persuade Italia to my side, like mechanically, like destroying this man, and you fucking still didn't let it happen.
I think maybe I didn't know that's what you thought would happen. I may have let that go if that was, but I
thought that was a cool role playing thing.
It was.
No, I'm not gonna accept anything from like that Kraken.
It definitely was. But that was your like powerful artifact. Although you ended up. Your polearm ended up being way more useful to you than that was.
Yeah.
So then you guys went to Lin Armal, and you spent a few.
We're not level 9 for very long, by the way. We just skimmed through. That was all for level 9.
This is one of my favorite bits where you guys came into Lin Armal from the top, took out the sentries that would have activated the castle, made this plan wherein some of you would become invisible, go down and free Felglos. The rest of you would set up a trap up in the tower. And then it got real crazy. And Bryces and Halford, I believe, were down in this lower level.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Let Felglos out. Let's send
Flying on the brim.
At
one point. Shrunk him down.
Yep. So this is all the first level of the dungeon. This is all the second level of the dungeon. This is the
saw any of this.
The second level is the primary part of what you skipped. Like there's just a whole bunch of storm giants, a whole bunch of rooms, cloud giants, giants with giant ballistas, all sorts of shit. You guys just didn't do any of that, even though you guys did spend an appropriate amount of time here, but it just wasn't trolling through rooms. This layer, the top floors, are where you guys spent most of your time. After you freed Felglos, went back to the tower down here. You guys tried to kind of sort of negotiate, kind of trick the Countess.
Giant fancy bat. We spent most of our time in this little circle.
In this little circle at the bottom. Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. which you guys were able to basically trick the Countess into handing you the conch, and then just get the fuck out. Like, just beat it.
I feel like we rock and roll this dungeon.
Yeah,
It
it was pretty good. It forced me to like take a lot of the elements of the dungeon and like pull them out to where you guys were, because you guys were just doing this whole scenario. Then
I don't think we fought a single giant. 'Cause that one you had stop in and check on us, I suggested him, and he went back.
Exactly. You guys didn't fight any of the cloud giants there. Yeah. Then you guys had one final encounter with the Weevil. I really enjoyed the way you guys did half of this encounter through stealth infiltration.
Yeah.
Where you convinced the swashbuckler dude to like come around the corner and leave. And then you like mind controlled one of the guards. You killed one of the other guards. You snuck up to the top.
Alfred was like on the rooftop.
Alfred was on the taking out these scouts up here. It's only when you got to the top and all these three were asleep, that you actually activated a fight and started fighting. The Weevil put together like an anti-Avengers. You have 5 adventurers, I'll have 5 adventurers, and we'll fight you. But yeah, you guys ended up rocking that one pretty hard. After all the infiltration. After that, you moved on to the Maelstrom itself. Now that you had the conch and we're ready to go. This map is very large and there's 3 levels to it. You guys started here. And if you scroll down and over, Tim jumped in that water just immediately. Bryce has followed him, turning into a shark.
How soon into that did you realize we were just going to skip the entire dungeon?
when you guys, it wasn't until I still had hopes for this dungeon until Bryce and Tim came out of the dungeon, out of the water, and said, "Hey guys, let's go this way." I expected you guys to come out of the water and be like, "All right, now we can start this dungeon." Instead, you guys went, "Hey, there's a whirlpool with a bunch of water and at least a bunch of other places. Let's go."
We came real close to killing Corinne, though.
Yes, Corinne. Rochelle, by the way, you were one less than 15 Constitution saving throw away from dropping to 0 and going unconscious during the holding your breath scenario.
That's right. You had a bunch of mechanics.
Yeah.
Hold our breath initially.
Yeah,
and keep making checks.
Yeah. Because you guys couldn't get the gate open down here at first, and then Tim had to go in and like blast it open with his hammer. Yeah, so if you look on the left side, you guys skipped all that shit. There's two more rooms with whales in them. They're like the sisters' bedrooms. You guys skipped a whole bunch of treasure in this dungeon, but there were some sleeping giants in here that you skipped. Instead, you went up this secret stairwell down here at the bottom. You went to, I believe, yeah. You guys went up to the second floor. Now, here's where you can see the majority of what you skipped. This bottom right corner is where you spent all of your time in the actual throne room. The other 3/4 of this map, you guys didn't touch. Wow. So you guys came up down here, got in behind the throne room, and pulled Teresa away, which was really clever way to do it, because you guys didn't know at the time, but the main boss was sitting right next to her. And then she gave you the Golden Goose token, told you to go find King Hekaton.
That was a weird scenario where we were like expected to know, because I didn't remember anything about this Golden Goose.
No, it may have been too long. It may have been too long. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, some of you still had tokens from the casino. You didn't turn them in. But it's been so long that, it may have been too much of a callback. So I just sort of told you.
Yeah.
And there were whole mechanics about how you guys would investigate and find out this token was specifically from Yartar.
30 sessions ago.
Yeah. Long time. But before that, you guys had got the location of the sculptor's tower from somewhere. I don't know where you got it. Top of my head. Oh, it was the Pirates Bay. There was a log of prisoners that were being taken to this tower. And yeah, you guys spent a lot of time trying to figure out how to approach these little scout things, which are just little scout things. They were nothing. They would have like tried to like activate an alarm. They both had an alarm like action.
Yeah.
But they didn't get a chance to do it.
Can you blame us by this point?
No. It's yeah.
I'm really into doing all these like just personal dungeons like from scratch.
Yes. Yeah. This was all from scratch.
Series of these.
Yep. And I remember, Eric, at some point you were looking at this wall here going like the geography doesn't work. I tap on this wall and see there's something behind it. I was like, there's nothing behind it. It's DM area. Because this is an existing map, but I had to like add extra walls to sort of narrow it down a bit. So I was like, I don't know what a room with a bunch of boxes is in my mage tower. It's nothing.
Yeah. Get it modified.
Yeah. Then you guys went to the second, third, and fourth floors. The second floor.
Cause I remember this is the one that Bryce has stepped into the portal and like looked at a bunch of shit. Were
Yeah.
you wanting us to like step into those portals, or what was that?
That's how the Fae dude traveled
Okay.
floor to floor. If you hadn't killed him, he could have popped in any one of those floors at any time and sort of harassed you or whatever. But because you guys eliminated him like immediately, without him being able to teleport away, and Bryce has just figured out how to use it. It wasn't really the intention there. You guys not all could have probably gone through it in time to actually join a fight, but yeah, second floor was just a fight with some mages and another guardian. The second floor was really fun because the Nabasu was a fun creature, and that was out of one of the new books, the Nabasu.
We're
Where
not prepared for how strong.
not prepared for how strong. Which, like you said, it's misleading that he's a medium. He's a medium. He's not big.
Yeah.
So you just sort of assume he's not going to be too tough, but he's a fucking tough dude.
Took Kryn down.
Took her in down.
With, like,
Yep.
one attack, and then Bryce has immediately locked him up for 2 full rounds.
Yep. And then into the top floor, where you fought and killed the sculptor, and Tim got his second Lathander item, his shield.
At this point, I was thinking I could regain my faith and start talking in a country accent again, but
You just didn't do
I
it.
thought that would be too much work.
Yeah.
I'm usually tired around this point.
That would have been good. You totally could have played that as like, I have my full like memory and personality back. Yeah.
I was
it was late. Then you all moved on to the Morkoth.
We gained a record amount of experience on that sculptor's at the end of the sculptor's tower.
Because you did the Nabasu and the sculptor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And completed the Tim's quest. And got
Right.
to level 11.
Yes, level 11. You all made a Zeppelin out of a dragon and a ship that you bought. Which I thought was a very clever way of handling the raiding a dragon for 3 days problem.
I mean, how were we supposed to get over there?
You could ride a dragon, or you could rent a ship.
Yeah.
You could, yeah. Those are basically the main ways. Either buy a ship with a crew, sell your own ship. But yeah, you said turned a vessel into a Zeppelin undercarriage for a dragon and flew there. I want to show you guys something. If you guys had been up,
Bananas battle.
yeah. So you guys did this top level, killed the captain of the ship, went downstairs, killed the mage, who was like the primary servant of Slarkerthel on the ship, which was the Kraken, and then freed Hecaton. The Kraken was destroying the ship, but Hecaton, once Kazan got him under control pretty quickly, which was thankful because you guys would have had to physically either like do something with him to get him under control to teleport away. While that was happening, this map has a number of states, so you can see what the Kraken looks like if you were on this top level while it was going on. I'll show you. If you look at the top of this map now, you see that face under the water? All right, that one. And then that one.
Oh, wow.
and that one, and that one. I think that's it. I think that was supposed to be like how long it takes him to just destroy this ship.
That's cool.
No, there's one more. That's the last one. So if you guys had been on the top deck, this is what you would have seen each round as the ship is slowly like compressed in the Kraken's tentacles.
Holy crap.
Wow.
This is because we got out of there that much faster?
Yeah. If you hadn't immediately gotten control of Hecaton, you would have climbed up to the top level of the ship. You guys would have had to follow him up, and that's when all the tentacle stuff would have started happening.
Okay. And those are like saving throws or something that's happening? Is it like an
Yes.
environmental thing, or is it like an actual?
No, you just had to calm him down. It was just like a skill check.
No, I mean when the tentacle's attacking, is that like literally is that a combat encounter?
It's a combat encounter. The Kraken has like tentacle attacks. Attack rolls. He can like fling you all about. And until you get Hecaton under control and teleport away, the Kraken is just trying to drown you and the ship.
Okay, wow. But again, this is another scenario where it's like there's something big trying to kill us and we have to get out.
We have to get out, yep. Yep. That was a popular thing.
The campaign leans a little too heavily on that scenario.
Which I think 2 of them were the campaign. The other ones were me. The campaigns were the Eye of the Allfather and this one, the Kraken.
And this one.
I think the first one with Zephyros was me. I don't remember what other ones there were, but yeah. Then you went back to the Maelstrom, talked to Hecaton, and he led you to. Well, this is where you also.
This was all going real quick at the end. Too.
I mean, yeah.
Warcraft was 2 sessions, and Imris Lair was 2 sessions.
Yep. You guys blazed through the end.
Yeah.
You went to talk to Hecaton. You found out Imrith was the villain. Which you guys skipped so much social stuff in the Maelstrom. The sisters were a big part of the story. Uther, the other advisor, the uncle, was a big part of everything. Like there was a whole court espionage sort of section that you all just did. You skipped all that by pulling Cerisa away from all that and just chatting with her in private, basically.
We thought we would be like attacked on sight by these storm giants.
And you might have been. You weren't necessarily supposed to get through the entire Maelstrom without having to fight any storm giants.
Yeah.
So then you came to Imris Lair, where you fought a bunch of gargoyles on the way down. And they're gargoyles with trebuchets, which I feel like the dynamic lighting kind of fucked this one up a little bit, because you can't really see what's going on in 3/4 of the map. But if you scroll up, the trebuchets are up there firing at you over here.
Because it felt big, because obviously you can see how much of it is like this black screen.
Yeah.
But we never saw much.
You never saw much of it. Yeah. And there's no really reason to go up in the bleachers here, except to engage the trebuchets.
Trebuchets.
Yeah.
That was the other thing repeated, is this one repeats the thing that happened on the Morkoth, where we're zooming in somewhere and there's something just firing at us.
Yeah, that one was my fault, because I don't think. Well, no, actually, that was because you guys did the Morkoth that way. Like you guys could have tried to sneak up on the Morkoth in the night. You guys could have handled the Morkoth any number of ways. Which I'll say that was another fun moment of mine that I really enjoyed, was Tim convincing Fungalos to just battering ram that ship with. And the 2 of you just left off it at the last moment.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah. Then you all went down to the 2nd level. You guys didn't do most of this dungeon. At this point, I think we were
I can't believe this was a full dungeon. I did not expect this to be a full dungeon.
I think we were all ready for this to end. Like at this point, like the fact that this is a full dungeon seems a little unnecessary to me.
We all drink our potions. We're like, all right, we're ready for the final battle. We're all souped up. And
yeah.
We find all these like little fights. We're like, what's going on?
Yeah.
It felt like a slog, kind of.
A little bit.
It's like, okay, it's doing a little thing.
It's kind of an action video game thing where you're about to face the boss, and in between you and the boss is a long hallway full of tons of every enemy you fought previously.
Yeah.
So you guys came down here. Straight to the south is that purple wormling pit that Halford almost fell into.
I almost fell into.
Yeah,
walked right next to it and didn't trigger it.
Yeah. There's a couple of those that you guys didn't walk by, sand pits that lead down into this place. And then up here, where Iamrith was, when you guys were in this main room, Iamrith was hiding underneath the sand dune. She was straight up she has a burrow speed, and she was straight up just in the sand. And if you guys had not started like taunting her, like Kaz and I think you started yelling stuff at her.
After the Yonti fight, like later.
Yeah. But she would have just continued to just sort of, from the darkness, try to eliminate your allies. Like she grabbed Felgalos and threw him down this pit. Which was partly mechanical because this fight was already getting to be a slog, and there was too much shit going on for me to keep track of, and I was being Halford too. And I was sort of like, I can't control another dragon on top of all this shit. But he pulled Hecaton out of behind the curtain over here. But then basically you guys just sort of ganged up on her. And I have issues with the way this fight is set up with you guys having Storm Giant allies. Because the idea is that Iamrith is way too high level for level 11 adventurers. Like she is tougher than an ancient dragon. So the campaign's solution was to give you a bunch of Storm Giant allies in the fight. Problem with that is that Storm Giants are they hit really hard. So at some point you guys were joking about like, why are we even here? Like, why aren't we just letting the Storm Giants do this?
I mean, at one point I literally made the decision like I could help my allies in the sand pit, or I could attempt to bring the Storm Giants back online. And I think the better call here is to bring the Storm Giant back online, which is shitty.
Yeah, exactly. Like they're the ones doing the damage just because they're big beefy dudes.
I thought that was a clever way of you like balancing, as you had them turn on each other, or one of them was like
yeah. Which I should have turned that off at some point to make the battle. But also, what I should have done in hindsight is get rid of the Yuan-Ti fight altogether and have the Iamrith fight last the entire session. Yeah. Because we were really crunched for time at the end of that session. Like things were getting like real close. But yeah, you guys just beat Iamrith, forced her down, and you moved into your epilogues, where you all went off to do your own things. Kazan set up his monastery again. Tim went back to Lathander and then went to go find the rogue Warforged. Bryces went to Waterdeep to set up the gambling house there. Karim went back to her tribe. Halford went back to his shire. It's the very Hobbit ending, or Lord of the Rings ending, where they come back home. Yeah, and that is it. Jesus, it's 10:15. All right.
I have fun stats.
Yes, go with your stats. Let's do it.
All right.
Go quickly.
Yeah, I forgot to add up the hours. I meant to do that. How many times do you think we went down this campaign total? And by down, I mean we hit 0 hit points.
5.
More than
6.
All of us collectively, total.
8.
27.
5.
You got 5, 6, and 8. I got
Wait. 5.
Chris, what's your guess?
6.
The total number of times we went down this campaign is 12.
Whoa, okay. I think some of them... yeah, you do.
Who do you think went down the most?
I think Tim. It's a close call between Tim and Corinne. Corinne went down.
I think it's 10. I did, but I think.
Okay, yeah, I'm going with Tim still.
The DM is correct. It in fact is tied between.
Oh, it's tied. Ah, okay.
At 5 deaths each, or 5 down stages.
How was I the only one to take lasting damage then?
I mean, it was just not a terribly, which is weird because you had a lot of con, but it was a con save.
I was the only other one to fail the con save, but I got the minor scar. I rolled 20. Corinne made her con save both times. And then we didn't actually roll for it in the early...
Oh, that's right. Prior to, like, level...
We did not have lingering injuries.
Yep.
For the first 3 levels, I think, in your campaign.
I think, yeah.
Which is when... So, like, early on, we were dying quite a bit. Like, half of us went down, like, in session 2.
Just goblin arrows.
In session 4, yeah, we were all squishy. It wasn't until later. We had, obviously, the Yeti fight with me. Tim with the Death Widow poison. Tim twice against that zombie. And then nobody forever until Corinne...
To a fireball?
yes, when Bryce's nuked the Grand Dame, Corinne went down.
Yeah.
And then 2 sessions later, Corinne went down to the
Y'all
demon at the tower.
Still technically don't have any proof that was me. It could have been crap.
So Bryce's and Halfred never went down the entire campaign.
Wow. All right. I knew Halfred didn't. Halfred, not only did he have a shit ton of life, he never put himself in danger. He was always flying in the back. He was just not interested.
How many wild magic surges do we get all campaign? What are your guesses?
Ooh.
Total
5
surges.
I'm gonna say 8.
Oh god.
Between 8 and 10. Well, maybe 10. I'll say
I'm
10.
gonna say 8 again.
I'll say 15.
Felt like a lot.
16.
Total wild magic surge rolls was 20.
Yes.
Oh.
Okay.
Over the course
Wow.
of 65 sessions.
That's more than I
And-
thought. Yeah.
I even kept track of them if they were good, bad, or neutral,
Yeah.
and it exactly evens out. There were 7 good, 6 bad, and 7 neutral.
Wow. Okay.
There was one funny, like I said, that 4 in a row where it was, at one point she was frightened by the nearest creature, turned into a potted plant, fireballed herself, and confusioned herself. Like, all just back to back.
Just a bad time in her life. Yeah.
Yeah.
At one point, I started dancing to the music that I was hearing in my head too.
That's right.
Most of them happen in the middle of the game. Hardly any in the later stages.
Yeah, which I gotta apologize for that item, Heather. I thought that item was gonna lead to a lot more wild magics that you would. I thought it was going to lead to more wild magics that you would be able to control because you got to pick between 2 options because of the way it worked. But that only happened once. Like the one roll, the dice were not in our favor there.
Nope. If you'd picked 10, then yeah, we would have been golden.
Yeah.
All right, final fun stat. How many, and this one is probably not accurate exactly because I probably didn't track it exactly correctly, but how many points of inspiration did we earn collectively over the course of this campaign?
Ooh.
And
Collectively.
this is again,
I spent
probably
weeks
I'm
forgetting
probably
that
pretty
inspiration was a
close.
thing.
Yes.
So
fun fact, there was no inspiration at all earned for the first 8 sessions.
I mean,
of this
I just forgot it was a thing for a while
Yep.
at the beginning.
12.
Collectively
Collectively over the course
way
of the
more
campaign.
than that.
Collectively,
30.
I'm gonna say 30. Yeah.
30, yeah.
31.
32.
This is impressive
33.
right rolls.
You guys really lowballed this.
Oh, really? Was there a lot more?
I lowballed all of these.
Total points of inspiration awarded to our crew was 79.
Oh, holy shit.
Wow. All right.
There's 5 of us. Yeah.
You know, at some point I was giving them to multiple people for different scenarios.
Yeah.
So I mean,
There were a couple sessions where all of us earned
That's
inspiration
right.
for some big
Yeah.
cool stealth thing or a
Yeah.
role playing thing. Yeah.
Asking me to do that was my worst, like
Yeah.
my worst what do you call it, performance as a DM, because I was totally inconsistent and didn't remember it half the time, and when I did remember it, I
That's those are all the stats that I kept track of.
Very nice. All right, well, quickly now because we're over time. Let's do favorite moments. Rochelle, you got a favorite moment?
I had a couple. Okay, so yeah, the one when you talked about favorite moments at the beginning of the thing, that was wooing the guy from my tribe was one of my favorites.
Yeah.
I had forgotten about the cheating at gambling one.
Yeah.
That was good.
Yeah.
And then also the diamond heist.
Oh, I forgot to mention that.
Oh,
Yeah.
we glossed over that.
I've even got that on my notes somewhere. I've got it says like Diamond Con is what I wrote down. Yeah.
The diamond guy. We made like thousands.
Yeah.
Cool.
It was such a like apropos of nothing side quest. It took like 15 minutes, but it was so great. It was just
Yeah.
Yeah.
nice. All right, Heather.
Diamond Con was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Good cop, bad cop with Corinne. That was great too. I think my favorite though was when I snuck off when we went back to Waterdeep, I think, and found those guys who had not taken the Weevils deal. And,
Yes, and you talked them into giving you information, spreading false information.
Yep.
I
And
will
just
say,
kind of, like,
Heather,
badassery at that time.
your actions shaped the course of the campaign more than anybody else, because you were doing a lot of shit that I had to take into account later on. Where I was like, well, no, it's good. That's how it's supposed to work. Like when I was building that Weevil thing, I was like, all right, well, I can't have that wizard that was supposed to be with him and the knight that was supposed to be with him because you talked to them, and then I had to I was like, okay, well, she convinced a bunch of people to turn on him, so I had to cut back on that. It was a lot of like trying to implement things that you had set up. So that, yeah.
You had a lot of, damn it, Heather.
That was good. It was, yeah, very, very role-playing goodness.
Yeah, I think that's probably one of my favorite things.
Nice. Reese!
I guess either charging the giant or dive bombing the ship. Kaz has full support.
I'm like, no.
That was pretty great. That was a lot of fun.
Don't do this! Please don't do this.
You're a madman.
And just taking him on an insane journey.
Yep. Very cool. Eric?
My favorite one was one that I wasn't actually involved in, and it was the Bryces and Halfred rescuing Felgalos.
Yeah.
But I thought that whole scenario was just...
I was
on the edge of my seat, and I wasn't even doing anything. I was just like, this is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
They had to sneak in. They had to open the pens for the griffins.
Lead her out.
At one point, they smoked drugs with the dragon and then shrunk
That's
him.
right. They did. They smoked. I forgot about that. They got the dragon.
He was like, I need a hit before I can escape.
Yeah.
And then the next thing we know, they're just flying up out of there, getting chased by all these. I was like, that was a fucking amazing scenario.
Yeah. Yeah.
Completely.
That was good. Very nice. All right. Are there any general thoughts, comments, questions on the campaign in general that you guys have?
I thought you did an amazing job.
Thank you.
A lot of the best things were things that you added to it, and I like
you
did
it's
an actual quest for every player.
Yeah. I'm not trying to say not big-headed, but my favorite things were the stuff I put together too. There's so much of the campaign book.
It's more personal.
I was kind of on, but when you guys were playing through a lot of the stuff that I had built for you, I was like, this is going well.
Yeah, so the Roaring Horn Gala, which is when we started that, I was like, this is gonna be stupid, and then by the end of that section, I was like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
That's probably my number 2.
Nice. Yeah. All right. Well, one last thing before we go. What are we doing next? And I will turn it over to Eric to discuss that.
Are we doing something next?
Good question.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah, always.
We're doing Tomb of Annihilation next. That's going to be our
next
campaign. Oh, yeah. I already know that.
I haven't heard about this.
So I think we're going to go ahead and take next week off. Just because it's a good opportunity to take a week off. Between campaign. Last year we went immediately into this one. Let's just go ahead and take a week off. Everybody a Friday off. Goodness knows Raymond needs a Friday off.
Yep.
So we're just gonna take a whole week off, and then the week after that we will start with our session 0 for Tomb of Annihilation. Obviously, since I'm talking, I'm gonna be back in the DM's chair.
That's right.
Running the campaign. Chris will be back as the player. Kept the seat nice and warm for me. And we will be having our characters, which I think essentially they're already planned out. We'll just be actually building the characters into Roll20 in session 0, and then we will start officially with that campaign story the week after that with session 1. And I think right now we'll just go ahead and keep our same time, although we could discuss if we want to change anything, but for now I think we'll go ahead and stick to Fridays.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's been working so far, so
we can discuss it if it's an issue, but I think Fridays are still
and it, as I mentioned, all new characters.
Yeah.
We kind of what we did with Prince is also we kind of retire at the end of the campaign and we start. I really like. I mean, a lot of these famous groups and whatever they play the same characters for years and years, and it's kind of cool. But I really like playing different characters. That's
It also gives you a chance to move out of the DM chair and back into it. I'm really looking forward to being a player again.
Yeah, and I loved my stint as a player. It was a lot of fun. A lot of when I was DMing, I was really jealous about doing all the player stuff, and I definitely got satiated doing that. So that was very fun as well. So, yep.
All right, excellent. Well, for the last time, thank you to Eric, Heather, Reese, Rochelle, and Raymond. the last time I forgot to put the outro music on. I'm Chris. We're here doing D&D 5th edition.
Are you sure?
You said to not say Storm King's Thunder, didn't you?
I had to stop myself.
Yeah.
We will see
We're done
you.
with Storm King's
Yep,
Thunder.
it's done. We will see you
We're
next
not
time.
gonna see you next time. There you go. 2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks, yes.
Can I join your next
2
session?
weeks?
No,
All
I,
new campaign.
I kind of think since Raymond took this week and last week off, we should just make him come next week, and the
That's
rest
true.
of us will
The rest
kick
of
it
us.
off.
Yeah.
Just him.
He'll cover
We'll
for
have
all
to
of
show
us.
up,
Yep.
Cover, yeah.
Oh my god, I can only imagine what that would be like.
That'd
Just-
be pretty amazing.
Raymond
Playing
being
all the roles.
DM and player.